All right, welcome in, Mizzou fans. It is the Boulevard post-game drink. I'm Gabe DeArmond after a 4-hour marathon 50-48 win over Arkansas. Waiting for Eli Drinkwitz, going through his press conference. We are here 6.5 hours after we started, and God knows how long till we end. This is the Boulevard post-game drink brought to you by Boulevard Brewing Company. If you're not having a Tank 7 after that game, guys, we can't be friends. That was one of the wildest games I've ever seen. We are going to talk about it. We're going to take your calls. And I tell you what, I'm real glad at a time like this that this year I'm taking your calls because you can guide the conversation. Because I promise you, all those guys in the press box who are still talking to Missouri players trying to figure out what to write are saying, I don't know how I wrap up this game. Like, things that happened in the second quarter don't even matter by the end of that game. You forget about things that happened in the third quarter. I mean, I don't know how you write about that game. It's going to take Mitchell Forty and I all night, but I'm going to hang out here with you guys for as long as you want to talk. We are going to take your calls, but the first thing we do on this show every week is play you Eli Drinkwitz's press conference that just ended. So I'm going to do that. It's about 15 minutes long. You can see kind of everything we asked the coach, everything he had to say. Great press conference as always. So here's the coach. Then we'll be back taking your calls.
With a opening statement here.
Yeah, what a great game. What a tribute to our seniors on Senior Day, to the toughness and tenacity that our program's showing and continue to learn how to win. And, really good, nice job of our guys fighting in the second half. I told them at halftime, no great story is fun unless you have a little adversity. And faced a little adversity, fought all the way back. Really proud of Harrison Mevis, gave him a game ball at the end of the game. And always good to beat your rival. I'll open up for questions.
First one comes from Gabe DeArmond. Gabe?
Yeah, Eli, just obviously Harrison was really good and has been good all year. Where did you feel comfortable kicking from? And then do you ask him before you run that third down play, like where he wants the ball on the field, where he feels good?
No, I was trying to score on that third down play. I thought we would surprise him with the run route there and just end it. But, we practice every Tuesday and Wednesday field goals, and he goes all the way out to 50, 52. So I knew once we got to inside the 30, we were in his range. It's always nice to get as close as you can. But nice. He did an unbelievable job today.
Dave Matter from the Post. Dave?
Eli, you've talked about kind of Connor's demeanor all year and how calm and cool he is. Just how valuable is that when he faces that situation with less than a minute to go and has to complete those passes that he did?
Yeah, he's got just a great head on his shoulders, sees the defense really well, found a matchup that he felt like he could take advantage of, and he just kept hammering it. And, you're always, as a quarterback, going to be measured on your game-ending drives. And that's the measure of a winning quarterback. And for him to get that one today was pretty awesome.
Peter Baugh from The Athletic. Peter?
Yeah, Eli, I guess what did you make of the Nick Bolton targeting call, and how did you kind of address that with your team in the locker room?
I think it's the right call based on what, the definition of targeting is: upward motion to the head or neck area. There was no intent to harm by Nick. He just got caught in that scenario. And so you take the penalty. They reviewed it. They upheld it. So that means that's what it was. And it's just some adversity. That's all it is. And so we have to face it and handle it. And we're going to be without Nick at some point in our future, and we're going to have somebody step up and play. And somebody else did.
Eric Blum from the Tribune. Eric?
You mentioned a little bit about Harrison there, but I'm just curious about, did you have any doubt he was making that kick when you sent him out for the game winner? And if so, what's the reaction you have to send a true freshman out for that big of a moment?
I mean, I'd be lying if I said I didn't have any doubt. But I felt good about it. I mean, he'd been 6 for 6. And so honestly, I looked across the field. I was about the 50 and Sam was on the 50. And so I just watched him. And when the ball was kicked and he stuck his head down, I knew we'd won. So feel bad for them. They played a really good game. To play as well as they did without their starting quarterback. KJ Jefferson was unbelievable today. And but proud of our team.
Next one's going to come from Mitchell Forty from Power Mizzou. Mitchell?
Eli, you've talked a lot this season about kind of always competing that value.
Yeah.
I'm curious, when you all are down 14 in the fourth quarter, or Arkansas gets that 2-point conversion, do you have to say anything to the sideline at that point?
I think a lot of us, we're on the sideline saying, let's go win the game. Let's go win the game. Let's go win the game. And, I know defense was disappointed because they felt like they had a chance to intercept that ball right there and didn't get it done. But we just told them, hustle off the field. We're going to go win the game for you. And that's why it's called a team sport, TEAM. Our guys, it's all about winning, finding a way to win. And, we did that today.
Next one's going to come from Joe Walljasper from the AP.
Eli, a lot of third down catches by Barrett Bannister. What have you seen out of him? And is there kind of a nice connection there between him and Bazelak on third down?
Yeah, he's just Mr. Consistent. He always finds a way, especially in zone coverage, to find a way to be open. And I thought Connor did a nice job extending plays and finding him over the middle today. And they just got a connection. They've worked a lot together, and Barrett's Mr. Consistent.
Suichi Terada from the Star.
I was just wondering, when you have a guy like Harrison, he's only a true freshman, but pretty much every time he talks about, maybe pressure pack situation, just cool and collected. I guess what does that kind of say about him and everything?
Says he's a stud. I mean, true freshman, moment's not too big for him. He just focuses on his job, and he's been that way since he's been here. And, I try to rattle him all the time on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I mean, I'm yelling at him and calling him Janamiski and all kinds of stuff, and he's in there just drilling them. And so, I mean, he just did what he's supposed to do, and he's got, nerves of steel, and tell him don't to drink the Kool-Aid, but he's doing really good right now.
Jack Sobel, Maneater, go ahead.
Eli, I'm wondering, what was your message to Connor after the 2-point conversion and before he stepped onto the field for that final drive?
Let's go win the game. It was that simple. Let's go win the game. He said, let's go win the game. And we called several plays, and he executed every one of them.
Bennett Durando from the Post. Bennett.
Eli, did you get a chance to say anything specifically to Jamal Brooks after he came off the field? He sort of tweeted his thanks to Harrison, I know, but he's sort of a good attitude guy. I don't know if just were the teammates picking him up or what was the situation with him.
Yeah, told him hustle off. We got you. We're gonna go win the game. I mean, it's your mindset. You can't dwell on it. You got to focus on this play. The past plays don't matter. This play is all that matters. And we had 40-something seconds, and we got a really good quarterback, some good wide receivers, great protection. And we said, forget it. We're going to go win this game. And that's what we did.
Andrew Kaufman from KMIZ. Andrew.
Coach, I saw you meet with Coach Odom before the game. What was that like? And it looked like he, kind of came up to you. And was that a neat moment for you?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, Coach Odom and I have always been cordial, and our conversations will stay private. But wish him all the best. He's doing a tremendous job this year.
Clint Switzer, go ahead.
Hey, Eli, another big game for Larry Roundtree here. We've talked about him all year, 185 yards, 3 touchdowns. Just what has he meant to this program here in your first year as you kind of try to take this program to the next level, but and have to unfortunately say goodbye to him?
Yeah, I mean, he's a captain voted on by his teammates, which shows you he has the respect of his teammates. As a coaching staff, he shows up every day to work with a great attitude. He always is working to get the energy at practice the way it's supposed to and the way it's supposed to be in the locker room. He's got a great smile and a great charisma about him. And I can't say enough good things about who he is as a person. And then as a player, I mean, just as tough as he runs and does everything the right way. Hey, Harrison, I guess they're going to let you talk to the media, huh? Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Y'all want to talk to Harrison? Wrap it up with me?
We got a couple more.
No, a couple more. Okay. All right.
Ben Frederickson, go ahead.
Eli, you talked about overcoming adversity.
Yeah.
As an example of that, seeing Nick Bolton on the sideline in the fourth quarter, kind of leading the pumping up and doing some coaching. I mean, he would have been understandable if he was pretty dejected, but it didn't seem like that was his demeanor.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got to turn your energy and do what you can. You can't dwell on the past. You can't focus on the past. You focus on right now and what you can contribute to our team. And he was doing an excellent job. He was coaching people on the sideline. He's got great energy. He's a captain. And I think, obviously it's deflating when you lose a good player like that, but you got to keep stepping up. Hey, Kiki, big day for you, big dog. 6 for 113.
Next one's going to come from Bill Pollock. Bill.
Yeah. Hey, Coach, did you have any inkling that Franks was not going to start this game at quarterback? And then second question, what did they do differently then with Jefferson in the game?
Didn't know he wasn't going to start. I mean, he went through pregame, so yeah, I don't know. I don't have any idea what's going on there, but they didn't do a ton differently. I thought KJ played really, really well. And, we still haven't stopped the sprint and draw, so we got to get that corrected. And then he was able to find holes in our zone coverage, and so, I mean, there's things that we got to get fixed. But I don't think they run the same offense regardless who's in.
Gabe?
Yeah, Eli, I know you've talked at different times about the challenges of getting Larry enough carries and Tyler. I think Tyler's first carry goes for a 46-yard touchdown. Just, how big he came up for you late and that balance you've got. How important was it today?
He's a really good player, but he's even better on the sideline, staying engaged in the game and just knowing whenever it's his opportunity, he's going to step up and do what he's supposed to do. And it's hard on a player, especially when you're as good as Tyler is, not to be in the game all the time. And then when you're called on, have to do something special. And I'm just so proud of him as a player. It's hard to do what we're asking Larry and Tyler to do, and Kiki and Dame and Toski and Barrett. There's all kinds of guys, and Jalen Knox, that need to touch the ball. And you got to be unselfish. You got to be TEAM player.
Next one's going to come from Mitch 40. Mitch?
Eli, you just mentioned his name, but Damon Hazelton's a guy who, hadn't maybe gotten the same amount of reps as early in the season. What can you say about him just staying engaged and being around when the team needed him late in the game?
I mean, you can't say enough about it. You got to have mental toughness. You got to decide that when my moment is called, I'm going to be prepared to do my job. And that's what happened today. Toski got dinged up, and we went Dame, and he did an unbelievable job. I mean, he's routing people up out there, making great catches, getting yards after catch. 5 for 98. It's a pretty good day. It's just a little bit worse than Kiki's, 6 for 113. Keek?
Peter Baugh, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess what did Arkansas do offensively that allowed them to kind of have the success they had?
They ran the ball really well, and they threw it to 16 really well. I don't know that was any different than what we thought they were going to do. I just don't think we played really well defensively, and so we'll have to get it corrected. But it's always good to get it corrected after a win.
Got time for a couple more for Coach. Kyle Pinnell, go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, you guys were down 7 heading in the half, and it seemed like Arkansas had all the momentum. And I'm just curious, what are some of those adjustments you made at half, and which one do you believe was the most crucial, especially in the second half, as you guys turned that game around?
We really talked about from a coaching staff, making sure we stayed with the outside zone out of some 11 personnel sets and open-ended sides, which end up hitting 2 big ones. We talked about, changing up some of our route concepts, figuring out when they were in zone and man, and trying to attack the single receiver. Defensively, I just challenged them. We got to get set. We weren't getting our calls in and getting set. And, we were able to do that a couple of times in the fourth quarter, just enough to get us a win.
All right, we're going to go Suichi, Bennett, and then Kaufman to close it. Suichi, go ahead.
Hey, I'm just wondering, does 5 wins mean anything? Knowing in the regular season at least, you're not going to have a losing season.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it. It's pretty cool.
And Bennett?
What was the sort of scene in the locker room? I imagine it was pretty high energy, but was there anyone else who specifically stood up and said anything? Or?
Well, I'm sure it'll be on Twitter here in a little while, so there won't be much. We just said the Lord's Prayer and said thank you to the man above. Let the seniors raise the trophy, gave Harrison a game ball. When we win, we sing. So it's a good time. It's a great time. God, it's a great time.
Kaufman, close us out here.
Coach, just how have you been able to change the culture of this team? They won 6 games last year. You've already won 5 this year.
I don't necessarily like the term, change the culture. I just think we've instilled a belief and an identity of who we are and what we're going to be about. And like I've said before, that's not for everybody, and that's okay. But as long as we're here, we're going to be about these things, and we're going to have a standard of performance. We're going to have a 1-0 mentality. We're going to have an always compete mindset. We're going to build trust and respect. we're going to do more than what's expected. And I thought one of the coolest things today or yesterday was when I saw Josh Bledsoe tweet out, enjoyed the journey, because that's core value number 4. And so for him to already understand that life is not about a destination, it's about a journey that you're on and enjoying the people that you're around, it tells you that they're just taking hold of it. And we got a lot more to do. And, appreciate the administration believing in me and believing in our staff and continue to push forward. I know, Mizzou Nation is getting excited about what we're doing. Recruits are taking notice, and we're not done yet.
There you go, Eli Drinkwitz, after a 50-48 win over the Arkansas Razorbacks, Missouri's 5th straight in the series. Wasn't easy. It looked to be questionable a lot of times. Here you go. Here's the phone number, folks. We want you to guide this show. You give us a call, 573-234-4935. We're going to answer your call. Look, if a bunch of you call at once, you're going to have to hang on. You might have to call back. I'm going to do the best I can. We've already got 250 people on here. I'm budgeting. We're going to go probably 3 hours. It's going to be a while. You guys are excited about this game. As well you should be. You're excited about this program. As well you should be. So let's talk about it. Anything you guys want to talk about? We got some of the key stats rolling across the bottom there. Somebody had asked. Well, let's jump to the phones right now. We got the 847 area code. Who am I talking to?
What's up, Gabe? It's Andrew. How we doing?
Andrew, how you doing, man? Good to hear from you this week. What's up?
I'm doing well. So I don't know if there's any only Barry Odom fans out there that just like whatever team Barry is currently coaching for, but you had to be having nightmares seeing that prevent defense on that last drive from Odom.
Yeah, what was interesting to me about that last drive was, first of all, Connor Bazelak was nails, but Missouri was getting to the sidelines, and that's what I didn't understand. I know they have 3 timeouts, but you can't let them get out of bounds. 2 of those completions, they got out of bounds and didn't even have to use a timeout. I mean, Missouri actually had time to waste time at the end of that drive. And look, I understand why everybody was upset with Ryan Walters and upset with the defense all day long. I get it. But Missouri's defense had 3 second-half stops. Arkansas's had 1. As crazy as it is, Missouri had the better defense in that game. So,
yeah, I agree with you, and I think with Marshall going down this week and a couple other teams losing, I think it's time to rank the Tigers.
Yeah, I hadn't looked at the bottom of the top 25, but they were just 3 spots out. They're 5-3 in an all SEC schedule. I think you're gonna have a top 25 team next week, and if Missouri goes and wins at Wichita State, I think you're going to have a top 25 basketball team maybe as well. So not a bad weekend for Missouri fans.
Not bad at all. Last question for you. Do you know about the record? And I don't know if record's the right word, but Bazelak had a heck of a lot of yards with no touchdowns. Wondering what the SEC record is for yards without a touchdown.
Yeah, it was crazy. I looked up in the early fourth quarter, he had like 317 yards and no touchdowns. And it's really been weird this year. He's thrown for 2,000 yards in 8 games, and he has 5 touchdown passes all game. And it's unbelievable. Andrew, I'm going to jump to the next call. Appreciate you being the first one. I tell you what, email me at powermizzou@gmail.com. I'll hook you up with some free time on the site for being the first one to join us this week. 262 area code. Who are we talking with?
This is Ryan.
Ryan, what's up? Where are you calling from, man?
We're calling from Denver, Colorado. We got 3 of the biggest Mizzou fans out here.
All right, good deal. You guys, I assume, got to watch the game? Mountain Time's the best time zone to watch football in.
We're in the Mountain Time zone, but we're watching Gabe's post-game drink right now.
Perfect.
Enjoying it.
Yeah. What'd you think? What's your takeaways today?
Biggest thing is Mevis is our hero. So we're all celebrating right now.
Yep.
Does anybody else have anything they want to say?
I didn't think we were going to get called on.
There's
I'm kind of
there's no way that the drop results in a Mizzou win.
Right. Like the drop.
Were all sitting.
The drop happens to Missouri, right? What doesn't happen is coming back and winning the game after the drop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's just what
But if you have Gary O, that game is a loss. There's nothing else we can talk about, and we're fucking pissy for the rest of the night. But I feel so much goddamn more confident in Drink. I don't know why. I think he's there, man. I like him.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And guys, I appreciate the call. I got a lot of other people on the line, so we're going to move on. But much appreciated, and the first F-bomb in post-game drink history. So I like that part of it too.
Sorry. Hey, huge fan. I love you. Like, keep it up. You're awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks for the call, guys. All right, we got the 573 area code. Who am I talking to? Now we all of a sudden have nobody. I don't know what happened there. We had a Skype problem, guys. 573. You just called. There were two of you. There were at least three people on hold. I apologize. I'm not sure if it was me or if it was Skype. Call back. We'll get you in. And if you tell me you were one of the guys that was on hold, you email me. I'll hook you up with a free month for what I'm going to assume was operator error. All right, there's the 573. Who am I talking with? 573. How you doing? What's up?
This is Davin. I didn't know if you had somebody else on.
Yeah, no. How you doing, Davin? I just added somebody else, but I've got them on hold. So, Davin, go ahead, man. What do you think?
Have you ever seen two cooler freshmen? Well, I guess Bazelak's not really a freshman, but golly, him and Mevis, holy crap.
The crazy thing about Bazelak is he's going to be a freshman next year. Yeah, I mean, what strikes me about Bazelak is if you watch him in the pocket, like if you just saw video of him, you honestly would not think he was playing football. You would think he was just kind of standing there tossing a ball with his buddy in the backyard, right? Not playing quarterback in the SEC. Absolutely ice water. And Mevis, I mean, the best compliment you can pay a true freshman kicker is that you ran him out there for a 32-yard field goal and nobody in that stadium thought about him missing it. I mean, you were pretty sure that kick was going through. And Davin, I appreciate it, man. I got like 6 other people on the line, so I'm going to keep kind of rolling through. I got a lot of 573 area codes, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to call out the last 4 numbers in your number. So 6764, go ahead. Who am I talking to? All right, we got a connection issue there. 1371, who am I talking to? Guys, I think we're having Skype problems here. Okay, let's go 1573. Okay, 301 area code. You there?
Hey, Gabe, can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we had 2 or 3 calls there with connection issues, so I appreciate it. And 573 area code, I just added you. I need you to hold on. So go ahead, 301. Who am I talking to?
Hey, Gabe, it's Jacob, Washington, D.C. Just want to say for the first time in a long time, it feels like our cup runneth over as Mizzou fans. I want to remind people that based on a non-rivals recruiting source, Drink just landed a top 15
All right, we have so many calls coming in, guys. I don't know if this is overloading Skype or what's going on. I'm going to try. All right, 573. Who am I talking to here? Last ends in a 73. You there?
Stewart, and I just want you to know, you can tell all of the Tiger fans out there, the reason the Tigers won is because your mother took her Missouri sweatshirt off, and my mother left the game with over 13 minutes to go in the game, and that's why they won. So just so everybody knows why Missouri won today.
Stuart, I know your mother. She doesn't leave games early.
She normally does not. She'd had enough, and I'm like, oh, my gosh. She got in the car, called your mother, and she said, you know, with what you did and what I did, if Missouri wins, it's because of us. And that's exactly what happened.
Everybody credit Mrs. DeArmond and Stuart's mom for the win. Appreciate it, man.
See you, bud. Take care.
All right. Have a good one. All right, 206 area code. Who am I talking to?
Hey, this is Jared up in Seattle.
Jared, what's going on, man? How are you?
Pretty good. Just wanted to kind of get your take on the how it looks like Mizzou is really pushing to kind of up that football facility. Is that kind of a way to send Drink a message that we're willing to open up the wallet if it ever comes to that? without actually making that investment? What is this, like 7 games in?
I think it absolutely is. I think you're right. Like, they've already guaranteed him $24 million, right? Extension, I get it. I get why people want to do it, but you don't need to do that right now. He's got $20 million guaranteed coming after this season. If you throw an extension at a guy after one good year, what you get is what Nebraska's got right now or what South Carolina's got right now if it doesn't work out. So you don't need to extend him, but the Curator's pushing through a new indoor facility. I promise people are telling Eli Drinkwitz behind the scenes, we love you, they love you, we're going to give you anything you want. So I absolutely think that's a part of it.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for the answer. I love what you guys are doing.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for the call. All right, now I got a 573 back on the line. I think we tried you earlier and something was wrong with the connection. Who am I talking to?
Scott in Colorado, actually.
What's up, Scott? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. So really enjoyed the win today. Was ready for the loss when we got down by 14, but excited to see the 21-point turnaround there at the end, and wonderful the way we won it with the kick. My biggest concern is the defense and whether we have a scheme issue or whether we have a talent issue. What is going on, and where do we go from here?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'm going to hang up and I'm going to answer that. I appreciate the call, but I've got so many people on the line. I'm going to answer that, but I'm just going to hang up the call so that the connection stays good. 314-301. You're on hold. Hang on with me. But the defense today, I think it was more talent, right? The defensive line was just getting pushed around. I don't know what scheme you can run to fix your defensive line is getting shoved off the football. Those guys didn't play very well up front, right? I think it's more talent than scheme. Also, Arkansas deserves some credit. They made plays. KJ Jefferson played well. He started out a little rough, but he played really well. So it's always a combination. In the end, like Drinkwitz said, it's better to fix it after you beat them than if you had lost. Missouri's defense wasn't good. Nobody is building Ryan Walter statues today. Don't get me wrong. But, they did win the football game, and that's something. So better to fix it after a win than a loss. All right, I'm going to go back to the phone lines now. I'm going to go back to 301 because I know you got cut off with a bad connection earlier. Who am I talking to?
Hey, Gabe, it's Jacob. I just wanted to remind people that yesterday, as Power Mizzou covered, Mizzou got a historic recruit in Isaac Thompson based on a non-rivals recruiting source, a top 15 recruit all time. And I know we have some holes on that defensive line, but with Travion Ford and Tyson Ford end up coming to Columbia, I think we'll be good to go.
Yeah, I appreciate the call. I'm going to hang up and answer so we make sure the connection stays good. Really appreciate the call. And you're right. I mean, excellent excellent get in Isaac Thompson yesterday. No question about it. Eli Drinkwitz has this current 2021 class is as high as any Missouri class has ever been rated. The 2022 class already has a 4-star. Look, he's done everything right, guys. There's nothing to be unhappy about. Recruiting is going better than it's gone. He looks like he can really coach. He's got guys believing. Hey, man, he told Kiki Chisholm in the postgame, don't drink the Kool-Aid. I'll just tell you guys, you can go ahead and drink the Kool-Aid for now. You should be excited about this thing. When they start selling tickets again, you should buy them. We're going to go to 314. You've been on hold for a while. I know you've tried a couple times to get in. Who am I talking to?
Hi, you're talking to Pat M. from St. Louis. This is not me exaggerating. I'm actually asking.
Okay.
Top 3 players on the roster right now. Oh, wait, I forgot Larry Roundtree. All right, top 5 players on the roster right now. Nick Bolton, Connor Bazelak, Larry Roundtree, and then is the thicker kicker, Harrison Mevis. Is he actually in our top 5 players? I mean, this is like
Yeah, connection's going bad. I got to quit adding so many people. I'm going to hang up, but I'm going to answer your question. Is Harrison Mevis in the top 5 players? He might be. Like, it sounds crazy, but a kicker can be worth a lot. And he was, like, clearly you don't win that game without him today, right? I mean, he's been absolutely phenomenal for Missouri. Like I said, you trot him out there for a 32-yarder, you know he's making it. If it was 52, you'd have some worries. But 32, you knew he was making it. I'm going to jump to 636. Who am I talking to?
Hey, this is Corey from Denver.
Corey, how you doing, man? What's going on?
Good. How are you?
Not bad. What's your
Couple things
thoughts?
real quick. Running game, amazing again. Thought they were outstanding. Obviously, thought the Bolton hit was complete garbage. I cannot believe that they called targeting on that play. Clearly, you could see how much he was missed in the middle after he was gone. And third thing, sorry if I missed it while I was on hold, but at what point do you get concerned that Tyler Macon from East St. Louis goes somewhere else? Got it in the game, so just kind of.
Yeah. All right. I appreciate the call again. I'm going to hang up and answer it. Tyler Macon, look, you recruit a good quarterback every year. Everything I hear is Tyler Macon is all in on Missouri. He's going to sign. Look, if he ends up transferring a year down the road, so be it. If he beats out Connor Bazelak and Connor Bazelak ends up transferring a year down the road, so be it. Sean Williams dropped news on our board today, the number 9 quarterback in the country. I think number 9, could be number 7, but top 10 quarterback in the country for 2022 currently has Missouri as his top school. You sign him too. Whatever. You sign as many as you can, and the guys that leave. You know, quarterback is different than anywhere else. It's the only position where you just play one guy if all things go well, and you sign as many good ones as you can. If guys choose to leave, you know, that's the way it goes. But hey, good quarterback or good programs stockpile quarterbacks. Good programs do things like Jalen Hurts not playing well, toss Tua in there. Tua gets hurt, toss Mac Jones in there. Mac Jones leaves after this year. I'm sure Alabama's got another great quarterback. That's what good programs do. And not even Alabama-level programs, but below that, you've got to have a good one every single year. So appreciate the call there. And, guys, I am doing my best to keep up. We've got so many people on. I'm going to have to limit it to answering a couple at a time. So if you call and don't get through, call back. I'm going to get to you. We're not going to be done until the calls are done, right? I'm going to hang out here, I promise. But we've just got so many people online that some connections are going bad and stuff. So 417 area code. Who am I talking to?
Hey, Gabe, this is Tucker down in Joplin.
What's up, Tucker? How you doing? I heard you on Sam Mellinger's podcast this week.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, so, you know, you as a writer, I know there's been times when you got a game column or a game story ready and then you throw it in the trash the last 2 minutes. I had a call ready, and now I'm going to, shift gears a little bit. But, even if Mizzou would have lost, I was going to come on and say, look, it wasn't Ryan Walters' best day, but the biggest problem, and I thought it was a good job by Bryles in Arkansas of exploiting the lack of D-line depth and using that tempo, and it really wore down Mizzou's front. And that's a position group that Mizzou definitely needs to upgrade. We all know that in the offseason. So I kind of want to comment on that. But there was a comment I made during the game on the chat deal. I don't know if it got answered or not. And as much as, Drink has been just phenomenal this year. I love everything about it. The one thing I kind of said today was I thought there were times he wasn't quite aggressive enough. And I don't mean like running the ball versus throwing. I mean with like game management stuff on fourth downs, stuff like that, because I just, after a while, you kind of got to realize, hey, the defense, they're not having a great day. And hell, it worked out again. I just thought Mizzou settled for field goals a couple times when they probably should have been a little more aggressive. That's all. So I'll hang up, but that was kind of my comment. That's all.
All right, Tucker, I appreciate it. And yeah, I see that point of view, no question. But I think when he settled for field goals, I think it made sense, right? There wasn't a situation there where I saw Missouri facing a fourth down where I thought you need to go for this, and he didn't go for it. The field goals were either, fourth and more than 5 yards, or they were longer field goals. And today is also a good example, and the LSU game was like this. Sometimes the guy knows his team better than we do, right? And he trusted his defense a couple times in the second half, and the defense came through. And then, look, the defense didn't get a stop on the biggest Arkansas drive of the game. Arkansas scored. So they didn't get that stop there. But there was time left, and he trusted his quarterback and his receivers, and he managed that. I think he has a pretty good feel for this team and what he can get out of them, what he needs to get and how he handles the game. We're always going to be able to nitpick a couple things along the way. But I I can't think of one thing today, game management wise, that I didn't agree with. The only thing I thought, and it ended up being kind of, it didn't matter because Arkansas scored on like a 20-yard run or whatever toward the end. But I thought maybe that he should have started to use a couple timeouts, but then Arkansas scored, and that kind of became, a non-factor, to be honest. So we're going back to the 417. Is this Tucker again, or is this somebody else?
No, this is Mike from Springfield.
What's up, Mike? How you doing, man? Thanks for the call.
Hey, appreciate your show. Hey, kind of something I haven't heard touched on. Obviously, to get behind the program, people buying season tickets, merchandise, all those things are obvious.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to upgrade recruiting, I think. Definitely on the defensive side of the ball in particular. It's an offensive game anymore, and I think we're seeing with mediocre talent, you can get someone like Drink, and they can move the needle on the offensive side of the ball. Defense is more reactionary. Got to have better players on defense. A big thing I think that recruits want and that we've been missing out on, we don't play big-time games outside the SEC. If Oklahoma State can go play in Arlington to open the season, why can't Mizzou? That excites the fan base. That excites the recruits. Your thoughts on that, please?
I like that a lot, Mike. I think that's a really good point. Gary Pinkel got this thing built a certain way, right? But then as time went on, I wanted to see Gary add some big-time games, and it didn't really happen. Gary seemed to try to identify Power 5 programs that had decent names but that he could beat. Go give me a game against, I was going to say Nebraska. That's a terrible idea right now because that's what Nebraska is. But like a 3-game series with Nebraska and Lincoln, Columbia, and Kansas City, fans will get behind that, man. That'll be fun.
Absolutely.
You know what? Go play in South Bend one time. I'm cool with that. I don't care if they come back here. Do it. See if you can.
Right.
And those early season games that Alabama and Oregon and some of those teams tend to play, those are TV deals, so Missouri's probably not quite at the level where it can get in one of those games. But I'm with you, man. Go find somebody in the non-conference to play and to add in. I tell you what, Mike, I appreciate the call. I'm getting another one that I'm going to take, so thank you very much. But I totally agree with your point, and that's something I've said for a long time. I'd love to see some more games like that in the non-conference. 504, who am I talking to?
Hey, this is Ken in St. Louis.
What's up, Ken? How you doing, man?
I feel good. I think that,
Am I on?
Hey, 573, hold on a minute. You're here, but you got to hold. We're talking to Ken now. Ken, go ahead. Sorry.
But the title splits, the lower the pad level has to go, and those guys got pushed around because their pad level is high. Here's the next thing. Not only did we win the game, but we won the storylines. Drink over Pittman. That was a big storyline.
Yep.
Drink versus Barry's defense. That was a big storyline. We won that. Larry Roundtree, even the minor storyline. Roundtree over their running back. Even though it's pathetic, Ryan Walters even over Barry as far as giving up yards allowed.
Yeah.
It goes on and on. It was a team victory, even though it was a lot of offense. But I'm proud of the Tigers and the way we fought and defeated Missouri.
Yeah, Ken, the only kind of sub-story Missouri might have lost is Grant Morgan versus Nick Bolton, because Nick Bolton was out late in the second, and Grant Morgan lasted till the third, till he got hurt. But, no, totally agree with your point overall. Appreciate the call, man. And you're right. I mean, you win a game like that, everybody contributes. There are things to nitpick and things to dislike, but like even Jamal Brooks, who dropped an interception on that 2-point conversion, he made 2 huge plays earlier in the game to get stopped. So everybody helped out. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing about Jamal Brooks. I was just talking to my friends who watching the game. Sure, he missed it. He could have hit the game on I think it was the 3rd or 4th to 1. He missed the tackle. He had the guy that got hurt on the. He could have ended it there, and also he missed the intersection. But the good thing is, he was in position in both plays. He was there.
Right.
He just missed the play. He hasn't had a lot at linebacker. So
right, as a third-string guy who replaced Chad Bailey, because Chad Bailey had some struggles there. So, yeah, 100%. And that 4th and 1 play, I actually just credit the quarterback. He made it. Like, look, Jamal was there, That's a big dude at quarterback, and he slipped out of the tackle. Now, the interception, you got to bat the ball down, and he knows that, but he tweeted after the game that he loves Harrison Mevis, so he has the right attitude about it. He's a program guy and a guy that's look, he hadn't played a lot, but I know Jamal probably as well as I know any player on this roster just because he's a charismatic guy and has always interacted with us on Twitter and stuff. And yeah, he's in that position again. He'll make the catch.
How about the leadership from the team after Nick Bolton went out? After Nick Bolton, losing Nick Bolton, the whole morale of the squad seemed to like to just deflate. And then, I have to take my hat off to Larry Roundtree because he, as a captain, he rose to the occasion and did even more what he's normally capable of to lead the team to victory. So I'm proud of the Tigers, and I'm very happy. I tune in all the time. Thanks for doing what you do at Power Mizzou. Great content. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it, Ken. Thanks a lot. I'd also point out, guys, if you noticed on that Tyler Beatty touchdown run, that 25-yarder, they gave Missouri the lead. Nick Bolton was sprinting down the sidelines cheering in his street clothes. Like, that's a program guy, man. I don't think he's got much more time left here, but that's a program guy. All right, 573 area code now. Now you're on. Who am I talking to?
All right, yeah, this is David Friends, actually out in Denver. Sorry for the F-bomb earlier.
Oh, no, you're good. Don't worry about it. Hey, man, we don't say this is necessarily a family show. We're good.
Great. So, yeah, we just got some college buddies here disallowing social distancing laws, but I just kind of wanted to talk about the Nick Bolton targeting call because it really kind of gave me flashbacks of Shane Ray in the 2014 SEC championship game. Like, obviously, Mizzou didn't really have any business winning that game, but it was still close at the time. And once that call was made, then it just seemed inevitable that it would be done. And so once that happened, I was very shaking. And so obviously it's a bad call. I think everybody here would agree. What I don't like, we all love Drink, and we love that. I would have expected him to stand up to the media and say that was a bad call and it shouldn't have happened. But instead he said it was the right call. So I'm kind of wondering whether he's trying to not rock the boat. Like, does he have some good vibes going and is trying to not, do too much? But to me, that's the worst targeting call I've seen. I don't know.
Yeah, I think maybe he was trying to not get fined, honestly, which, hey, I get. He makes $4 million a year, but nobody just wants to donate $25,000 just to do it, right? But, I mean, I thought it was a terrible call. It was clearly shoulder to chest, not even like shoulder to upper chest, shoulder to sternum. It was a big hit, but that's football, man. You can't legislate contact out of football. I thought it was a terrible call. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say he was doing one of two things. Either he thought it was the right call by some spirit of the rule that we don't necessarily understand because Bolton was going upward, and maybe that's the case. Or maybe he just wanted to save himself $25,000 and Missouri won the game, so he didn't think it was worth fighting about. So as long as either one of those things are true, I'm okay with it. But, yeah, I thought it was a bad call. I also – I was getting pretty heated with some people on our game watch along. It happened with 1.5 minutes left in the first half. First of all, Missouri wasn't very good on defense with Bolton on the field. And second of all, there's 32 minutes of the game left. There is zero chance I was going to blame that for Missouri ending up losing that game. I understand why it got the attention it did, and I do think it was a bad call, but I would not have blamed Nick Bolton getting kicked out for Missouri losing the game if they'd lost it.
See, I kind of differ with you there. Respectfully, of course.
I got you.
His presence on I don't know. To me, he is a fantastic first round generational talent, and he changes everything. Obviously nobody knows how it ends up. The ending was crazy, but to me it's kind of one of those, again, back to 2014, where it's Mizzou was technically within one score in the fourth quarter
right
in the SEC championship game, but they didn't have Shane Ray on the field.
Now the difference between those two calls, the call on Shane Ray was right. I thought that was a good call. I didn't think this one was.
So yes, that's the difference, but we can circle around what targeting is and shouldn't be, but basically what I'm getting at is that is the second half different if Shane Ray is on the field? Is the second half different if Nick Bolton's off the field? Right.
Certainly could have been. Yeah, and
I think it is yes, but again, we won the game. We should have won the game. 2014, as I said, we didn't really have.
Gabe, you're the man. You're a superstar. Fucking love you.
Appreciate it, man. Sounds like you guys are having a ball out there.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm glad you get to celebrate a win, man. Thanks for the call.
Yeah, cool.
All right, we'll talk to you guys. And so, look, I want to finish that point up on the Bolton call. And first of all, I do agree. It was a bad call. I absolutely. I thought it was a bad call live. I thought it was a bad call on replay. I think it's a bad call 2 hours later. Absolutely. And I'll get back to that point in a minute, but we're going to jump to the phone lines. 573, who am I talking to?
Hey, this is Luke from Kansas City.
What's up, Luke? How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well. I got to say, my heart was pounding during that entire fourth quarter.
You weren't just confident the whole time they were going to win?
No. I was texting my friends, and the gifts were coming out of just it was insane. But anyway, so I got two comments and a question for you, and the comment and the question are related.
Okay.
All right. So first, just this is a shout out to Boulevard. I watched your show last week. You were talking up Tank 7. I went to the store, and so I bought a 6-pack of Tank 7. So their dollars are being spent well.
Excellent. It's the best beer in the world. Do not drink all 6 on one day.
I did not. My comment is that this team is basically Barry Odom's team. It's all his recruits, and then Drinkwitz has come in and is coaching them. So the biggest difference that I see is that when this team faces adversity, they're not laying down. They're fighting back. I mean, there were 3 or 4 times during this game where if it was last season, it's just kind of turn out the lights, you know what, party's over. But this year, there's just some swagger about them and just some fight to them where they think that they can win. And so that leads into my question. If Odom's still the coach of this team, how many wins do you think they have?
I mean, I don't know. It's kind of impossible, right? Because is Connor Bazelak playing really well because Eli Drinkwitz is the coach, or is Connor Bazelak playing really well because this is the quarterback Connor Bazelak is? I mean, do they win the LSU game or the Arkansas game the way those went down? Probably not, because I saw Missouri not win that game with Barry Odom as the head coach. But do they go different? I mean, it's obviously an impossible question to answer, right? But Drinkwitz is doing a hell of a job. I saw this team as 3-7 before the year. So I guess I'd say maybe with Barry they have 2 fewer wins. I don't know if that's right or not, but I think Drinkwitz is the SEC Coach of the Year. I think, and I said this on the pregame show, I think he's doing a good enough job. You've got yourself a hell of a coach. I think Missouri fans, whatever the Barry Odom era was, at this point I think it's kind of time to let go of the angst and the anger. It didn't work, but if it had worked, you don't have this guy as your head coach. So I think maybe, and also Barry clearly, he left the program better than he found it, right? He had his flaws. He had some issues along the way. He lost some games he shouldn't have lost. But what we know is, and I'm going to add another call, so I appreciate the call, and I hope you listen off air. But what we know about Barry is that he left more talent than we thought he left. Now, Drinkwitz knows what to do with that talent. He's managing it better. But Barry didn't leave the cupboard completely bare. And so, again, Eli Drinkwitz is the coach. Every Missouri fan should be thrilled with that. And And I think it's time to kind of move on over the hurt feelings or the anger from last year. And not saying the last caller had those, but there are certainly people out there who do. So 314 area code. Who's on the line?
Hi, Gabe. This is I Hate the Cornhuskers.
What's going on? How are you, man?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm hanging in, doing all right. A little worn out after that one, and I still got to work. But,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, this might sound a little crazy here, but I actually think we should have won the game a little bit easier. I think we actually should have ran the ball a little bit more. It seemed like we were always trying to hit the long ball, and at least in the second and third quarters, it put us into third and long positions a lot.
Yeah.
And obviously Roundtree had a great game, and so did Beatty. So I'm kind of surprised that they didn't rely more on the run, especially with the defense not playing so well.
Yeah, the first three
quarters.
quarters.
I actually think they probably could have run and then maybe hit the tight ends a little bit more, played a little, I don't know, Big Ten football there.
Yeah, the first three quarters of that game tell me that Eli Drinkwitz saw something on film that told him he could get Arkansas deep. I mean, we didn't really address that specifically with him because there were so many things after the game to talk about. But the way Missouri approached those first three quarters told me they think these guys are vulnerable deep, and if they just keep trying to hit them, they're going to hit some. And you know what they did? Again, they got Kiki Chisholm a couple times. They got Damon Hazelton late. It didn't work every time, but it worked enough. And also the threat of that deep ball, it probably opens up the run game a little bit because they know, hey, you're going deep. We've got to respect that, so we can't load the box. The one other thing I'd say, you mentioned the tight ends, and like with a traditional football team, I agree with you. With a lot of Missouri football teams in the past, I agree with you. With this team, like who at tight end is a difference maker that you're going to use in the passing game consistently?
I mean,
I just don't think there is.
I don't know, 5 yards. He can, he could get you 5 yards.
Right. He can get you 5 yards, but I just don't think they have a difference maker there is what I'm saying. But you're right, it could have been easier, but I bet Arkansas fans are looking at this and saying there's 10 ways we win that game, right? That's kind of what we do. We look more at our team and kind of ignore like we got to give Arkansas credit. They played a hell of a game.
They would probably win the game,
Yep, 100%. But appreciate the call, man. Thanks so much. We're gonna move on to the 704 area code. Who am I talking to?
Hey, Gabe, it's Joe in Charlotte. How you doing?
Not bad. What's on your mind, Joe?
I think I missed part of your show tonight, so I'm going to say it again if you have already covered it. And that is that I think with that defense being faced with Nick being thrown, taken out of the game, they really grew up tonight. I watched them kind of freeze for a while when he first got taken out, and then as they gained confidence during the game, they just got stronger and stronger. Do you agree?
They played, let me say, like these two things can both be true, right?
Yeah.
The second half, they were the better defense on the field, and they had something to do with winning the game. Also, Missouri needs to be better than that defensively. Like those things can both be true. We're somewhere we can meet somewhere in the middle, and so often, I mean, we're getting heated in the game chat. We don't have to fire somebody every week. Ryan Walters pitched a shutout last week. He might be okay at this job. He was not great at it today. It was not a good day for his defense today. But that doesn't mean he's trash and we have to fire him. Like, we don't have to do this every week. There is something to be said. One of the earlier callers was talking about how much more of an offensive game football is these days. We have to reassess what good defense is. And again, giving up 48 points and 280 rushing yards is not good defense. Don't get me wrong. But you know what that Missouri defense did today? When they absolutely had to have a stop. When the game was over and they were going to get beat if they didn't get a stop, they got it. Twice. 3 times in 4 drives at one point in the second half. Now, what they didn't do was get the stop on Arkansas's last touchdown drive that would have iced the game. So that's where certainly, again, I'm not saying that they had a great day, but I agree with you that there are some things you can take out of that you like.
Well, I think that, I grew up as a person not because of all my victories, right? I mean, I grew up when things got tough, and then I gained from that and got better. Thanks, Gabe.
Yeah, I appreciate the call. Thanks so much, Joe, and everybody who has called in. And, hey, we actually have an open phone line now, so if you guys want to call in, now's a good time to do it. We go into every game wanting perfection, right? The offense to score on every drive, the defense to never allow a score. And anytime we don't have that – and, look, I'm the worst example of this is a Chiefs fan. I mean, they're 10-1, right? And every week it feels like we're saying, yeah, but, like, I don't think they really played all that well. But they're 10-1 in the National Football League. Missouri won the game today. They didn't play well on defense. Drinkwitz said they didn't play well. But Arkansas had 7 second-half drives. They scored on 4 of them. Missouri had 7 second-half drives, and they scored on 6 of them. Missouri was down 40-26 with 13 minutes to go. The defense got 2 consecutive stops, and Missouri tied the game. Actually went ahead 47-26. It went touchdown, stop, touchdown, and took the lead. So the defense does deserve a little bit of credit. 913 area code. Who am I talking to?
Hello?
Yeah, what's going on? How are you?
I'm good, Gabe. How are you? I just wondered what you thought the difference was today with finding out late that Arkansas had the backup quarterback. I felt like it put the defense on their heels a little bit because they knew he could run and they weren't as aggressive as they might otherwise be. But just interested in your thoughts, and I'll listen offline.
Yeah, appreciate it. You could be right. That could have had something to do with it. I don't think it was that so much as KJ Jefferson settled in and started playing really well. And I thought what hurt Missouri on defense today was the tempo. It stood out really, really obviously to me. There was a 4th and 1 where clearly Arkansas had said on 3rd down, okay, if we don't get this, we're going for it. We're getting to the line and we're going for it. They ran a quarterback sneak on 4th and 1. Missouri's defensive line was 1.5 yards off the line of scrimmage looking at the sideline. They weren't even ready. I thought the tempo really hurt Missouri. And I think this is a hard thing for sports fans to do. Sometimes you've got to give the other guy credit. Kendall Briles called a hell of a game. KJ Jefferson, for a backup quarterback, played really, really well. Traylon Smith that dude can run. Traylon Burks. Mike Woods came up with a couple plays. Like, Arkansas's got some talent that played well today. And Kendall Briles, somebody put it well in our game chat. If his last name was different, if that was Kendall Smith, he'd be a head coach right now. But it's not, and he isn't, and we all know why, and I'm not even arguing with that. But sometimes you have to be willing to admit that the other guy had a good day. And again, Missouri has to be better on defense. None of what I'm saying changes that. But sometimes the other guy does some good things and has some good players. And I thought that was the case today. And I thought KJ Jefferson did not play like a backup quarterback. We talked a lot coming into the game. I had a hard time convincing myself that Felipe Franks is a good quarterback because it's just hard for me to wrap my head around. Is Arkansas better with KJ Jefferson? I mean, I don't know. They were pretty good today. That's as well as they've played offensively, I think, this year. So I don't know, man. But we're going back to the phone, 660. Who am I talking to?
Hi, this is Quinn. How you doing, Gabe?
Not bad. What's up, Quinn?
Well, just playing off your previous point, too, I wanted to also draw attention. You're talking about giving props to the other side about Sam Pittman. I mean, I know up front the defensive line did not look good today, but I know Pittman's whole thing is coaching up offensive line, and they did look really well and good as well.
Yeah.
My question, though, is if I'd like to invite you to play kind of a really dumb, unanswerable hypothetical.
Oh, that's my favorite kind.
Going through it's the best part of sports fandom, man. If you could combine the poise and pocket presence of Connor Bazelak with the physical abilities of Blaine Gabbert, is that a Heisman Trophy winner and a number 1 draft pick?
Okay, so here's basically what I hear when you ask that question, and this is something that I've been asked about and thought about over the last 13 years a couple times. What if Chase Daniel was 6'4", 230? I mean, that's basically the question, right? because when you look at Bazelak, and they're different statures, but when you look at Bazelak, you see a little bit of that same calm presence in the pocket where, like I said earlier to a caller, if you just looked at video of Connor Bazelak, you don't think he's in an SEC football game. You think he's playing catch with his kid in the backyard, right? And so that was like Chase Daniel, that's what he looked like. He knew where the ball was going. He was never under duress because he knew where the ball was going before the snap. I don't think Connor's quite there yet. But it's a very similar question, right? What if you give him, the physical stature of Blaine Gabbert or the arm of Drew Lock or whatever? Who knows? Maybe he's not that, right? Because Drew Lock sometimes relied on his arm a little more than he should have. But if you give me one quality in a quarterback, here's what I want. I want the confidence and the poise to go do what Connor Bazelak did today. I love Drew Lock. He's one of my favorite kids I've ever covered. He never did anything like that today. Blaine Gabbert, I don't know, did he? They played from ahead against Oklahoma. He might have had a drive or two like that. I can't remember. James Franklin,
he had that,
probably did.
That toss to oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, I'm just thinking about the Oklahoma game, which is always unforgettable. And if I remember right, there was
a pass to
that
Jarrell
drive
Jackson
in the third quarter with Jarrell Jackson. Yeah, that is just, sticks out in my mind. But it still wasn't crunch time the way today was.
Right. It wasn't the only game that comes to my mind, and I'm sure there are others, and you guys are going to call or write in about them, and please do. The last game I remember Missouri going on a drive to win the game at the end of the game was the 2008 Kansas game. There probably have been others since then, but that's the last one I really remember. So
2009, 2008 was
2009.
a nightmare.
Right, 2008 was the reverse where Justin Garrett couldn't cover Kerry Meyer. 2009 is the one Missouri won at the end. You're right.
Yeah.
I'm sure there have been games since then.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Oh, yeah, which was Gabbert. And
That's fair.
the reason I use Gabbert, not Locke, is that I think we sometimes forget how obviously it's stupid to say this maybe for a 5-star guy that was a top 10 draft pick, but I do think in some ways, because of how his NFL career has gone and his happy feet tendency, that it's easy to maybe forget how talented he was physically, like that he had every single, ability you could ever ask for.
And Blaine Gabbert's only issue at Missouri, he was a 5-star elite prospect at a place that didn't get 5-star elite prospects, and so by not winning a Heisman, some people thought he was falling short of expectations. He was a really good quarterback here. Now, he wasn't Chase Daniel. That was his other problem. He followed Chase Daniel, right? He wasn't Brad Smith. He wasn't Chase Daniel. But he had a really good career here. It's just kind of like, Ron Powlus didn't win 2 Heismans at Notre Dame, so people were unhappy about it. So it's kind of the expectations sometimes kind of doom you a little bit. So. But I appreciate the call, man. I'm going to move on. We got 3 or 4 in the queue, so we're going to move on to the 407 area code. Who am I talking to?
Hey, Gabe. This is Orlando Keith.
What's up, Keith? How you doing, man? What's going on?
Hey, good. Hey, give me your comments on Daniel Parker's play today, and also, is it really a concussion that was keeping him out? I hope not. Do you know any more about his injury?
All I can say. Appreciate it, Keith. All I can say about Parker's injuries is we've heard that. The way Coach Drinkwitz talked about it earlier this week made me kind of led me to believe that it was probably accurate what we'd heard, but nobody ever said concussion. But Parker today, and look, this is kind of what you lose when you're trying to watch the game live and type and talk and all that. We had a lot of comments in our game chat about just crushing blocks from Daniel Parker. I don't have the ability during the game while I'm trying to do 5 other things to see that. But if enough people pointed out, I'm assuming Daniel Parker had every bit the game they thought he did. And there's it's not just the running backs why you run for 300 yards in a day, right? So it's not just Beatty and Roundtree. The line's doing a good job. Parker's doing a good job. The receivers are helping out. So without the benefit of watching the all 22 or anything like that, I can't say just based off right now. But yeah, I think Parker was probably really good today. We're jumping to the 660 area code. Who am I talking to?
Hey, Gabe, this is JoJo.
What's up, JoJo? How you doing?
I'm good. Asking you shall receive. So you mentioned the game-winning drives.
Right.
Drew Lock with the Arkansas game. Albert Okwuegbunam's freshman year, redshirt freshman year.
Right.
That was one. And then Matty Mock, South Carolina. Like that crazy game.
Oh, yeah, that game where they did
nothing
literally
like
nothing for like 3.5 quarters, and then he scored 2 touchdowns in like 6 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
So, those cracked me up.
I knew somebody would come through and help me out. See, this is when you talk off the top of your head, man. You just make stuff up.
Uh-huh. Like you said, asking shall receive.
All right.
I'll listen offline. Thanks, man.
Appreciate the call, man. Back to the 573 area code. Who do we have here?
Hey, Gabe, babe. This is Hot Shoulders, baby. How you doing?
What's up, man? How are you?
Oh, not too bad. Fun game. Did you see that? I believe Michael Cox had a penalty on a kickoff. Is that right? Did I see that? I thought I saw that on the screen.
No, for real?
Yeah, for real.
I hope so. I hope he got in the game.
You didn't write an article about him, did you? I thought I couldn't find it.
No, I didn't. Like, we don't get Michael Cox for interviews. We get, like, a very limited number of people. But I hope he got on the field and had a penalty and got in the box score. I hope that happened today, but I did not see it.
That's what I saw anyway.
All right.
But the Mizzou the fan base isn't, we're used to disappointment. And, I don't take anybody seriously that calls for a coach's head constantly every week. I'm not interested in that. And, Ryan Walters is fine. I don't see the problem. And Chase Daniel, I actually think if he got the proper sniff by those NFL, I remember.
Yeah, I hate to do it. The connection's gone bad. Please feel free to call back. I got to hang up because the connection's no good. But Chase Daniel, I know where you're going. If he got the proper evaluation, proper look from NFL teams, he would have had a better or a different career. I agree, man. Or if he'd just come along a few years later when teams were drafting guys like Baker Mayfield, #1 overall, Chase has a different career. I totally agree. That said, Chase is going to retire from the NFL having made a whole bunch of money with 0 concussions and in pretty good health. So he hadn't done poorly for himself. All right, we're going back to the 940 area code. Who am I talking to?
Yeah. Hi, this is Ed in Denton, Texas.
What's up, Ed?
And just 2 comments. One is, I know years ago you were negative on giving scholarships to kickers and punters, but I think having good kickers and punters can really, really help you.
Yeah, I'd say Harrison Mevis, maybe give him 2 scholarships after today.
Yeah, and I understand.
Sorry, can you say that one more time?
Yeah, McKinnis, the punter,
yeah.
He's supposed to be coming back next year.
I think it's possible. Yes, I don't know that it's certainly decided, but it's definitely possible.
Yeah, it sounded like it. Drink was saying that. And next year with Roundtree gone, I really think it'll probably be like a 3-headed monster of faster running backs. Led by Beatty, but he won't be getting as much work.
Right.
But I think there'll be at least 3 running backs that we'll see a lot of.
Yeah, you're not going to see Tyler Beatty getting 29 carries a game, but you'll have Beatty, Elijah Young, and then whether it's Simi Bakari, Taj Butts, B.J. Harris, one of these guys coming in. I agree with you. I think it'll be a 2 to 3 man kind of rotation, and Beatty will get more work than he gets this year, but not as much as Roundtree is.
Great.
Yep.
And a great show. Really enjoy it.
All right, Ed, appreciate the
luck.
call, man. Thank you. We're going to go to the 815 area code now. Appreciate your patience. Who am I talking with?
Hey, Gabe, this is Ron in Albuquerque.
What's up, Ron? How are you, man?
Man, I'm doing well. Again, what a game.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. Again, you couldn't have scripted it better with, the missed interception and then.
I mean, you could have scripted it a little better. They could have won by 3 touchdowns, but I get your point. Yeah.
Yeah, it's poetic. A 50 burger on Barry's defense. the win. I don't know. It was certainly very exciting. I have a comment and a question. First comment is a lot of heroes today with Roundtree of course, and Tyler Beatty, big play. Connor on that last drive, man, like it's hard to believe he's only playing his 10th game or something like that, or not even that maybe.
Yeah,
but
not even that. I think he started 7 now. Yeah.
Yeah, remarkable. My comment is, I got to give a shout out to Kiki Chisholm and Damon Hazelton. Like, these are two grad transfer receivers who I thought probably would have been a bigger part of the offense at the start. So far, it probably hasn't gone the way they both scripted it, but they both came up huge today. They didn't, play in the end zone, but they don't win that game without those contributions from the two grad transfer receivers. So
100%.
I thought that was really something.
And Chisholm has stayed mostly in the starting lineup, but Hazelton, man, he was losing reps. And I thought it was interesting. I didn't even realize Drinkwitz said in the post-game press conference, Towski Dove got banged up, and that's why Hazelton was out there on that last drive. And He made probably the biggest play of the game. On that last drive at least. He had a huge catch that really got them into field goal range. And and it's why I understand what being a fan is like, right? Because, I have cut guys from the Chiefs 412 times in a season. So I get it. But it's why you don't give up on guys after 2 games or 2 quarters or whatever. Because you never know when – Jamal Brooks is a guy who you had all these hopes for, and it didn't happen. And so it would be easy to say, well, man, this is a bust. Forget it. Move on. Send him somewhere else. Jamal Brooks made a couple of huge plays in that game. Now, he also had a couple issues down the stretch, but he made a couple really big plays. They don't win that game without Jamal Brooks today. They don't win the game without Chisholm and Hazelton, and I think both of them deserve a lot of credit.
Yeah, 100%. Commend those guys for sticking through and seeing this whole thing through, because I think they're going to be a big part of the offense in the last couple of games. My question to you, I know we were all fans kind of scoffed at the Battle Line rivalry by Shelter Insurance.
Right. Yeah, I do too.
Some, I know in these last few games,
Ron, I really wish I could hear you. Skype is killing us today, man. Ron, are you still there? I need you to repeat that. Skype is just killing me. Yeah.
Hey, I am here.
Okay, go ahead, Ron. Sorry, I don't know what was happening there.
Yeah. No, not a problem. It's Skype's fault, not yours. Just to kind of wrap up, we have some real storylines now. First-year head coaches, Pittman versus Drinkwitz, they both seem to be putting the program in the right direction, respectively. Obviously, the Barry Odom storylines, we'll see how long he stays there.
Right.
But I want to believe that this is a game that both fan bases could look forward to and, really, hate each other. That's good for college football, and that's good for the season. So
I agree.
That was just my question.
Yeah. No, Ron, appreciate the call, man. Good to talk to you. And I'm going to hang up and kind of answer you off air. I kind of view South Carolina as the rivalry game on the schedule right now. And it's not a traditional rivalry, but they're in your division. Arkansas isn't. And you've had good games with South Carolina. Arkansas hadn't beaten Missouri now in 5 years. There's literally not a guy on Arkansas's roster next year who has beaten Missouri as a member of Arkansas. So I think you need that to happen. South Carolina's torn your heart out a couple times and vice versa. So that's the game to me right now. But if Missouri, Arkansas can become one, that's great. 573 area code. Who am I talking to? 573, you still there?
Yeah, Gabe. Hey, it's Justin Ferguson. How are you doing, man?
What's up, Justin? Appreciate it, man. Shout out for the super chat earlier, and thanks for being with us all day.
Hey, man, no problem. Love what you do. I had started my own fan page on Facebook and stopped it because of the things that you guys are doing. So obviously I love what you guys are doing. like your last caller, just a big shout out to Kiki Chisholm. The guy, was talked about a lot, preseason about being a big name guy, a guy to look out for, and it just hasn't worked out for him. But in today's game, he was absolutely money for Missouri. And then just, looking right now, Florida's up 24-7 currently on Tennessee.
Okay.
It looks like Missouri is going to finish couldn't be more excited to be a Missouri fan right now.
Yeah, it's definitely a good time to be a Missouri fan. Justin, I really appreciate the call. We got so many coming in. I'm going to hang up and kind of respond off air, but thanks so much for hanging out with us and being a part of what we've been doing every week. Missouri's going to finish minimum third in the SEC East. They're going to play Georgia, have a shot maybe for second, right? But they're going to be 6-4, 7-3. I would think they'll certainly be favored against Mississippi State. And basketball played well. You got a 4-star recruit yesterday. Like this is kind of a good time for you guys, and that's great. That's good for us. Like we talk all the time. No, we don't root like you guys do, but it's so much more fun, right? It's so much more fun for us to do our jobs and to interact with you guys and provide you guys a service when Connor Bazelak leads that game-winning drive and Harrison Mevis makes the kick than if those things didn't happen. If those things didn't happen, everybody's just calling pissed off wanting to fire Ryan Walters, and I deal with that for 2 hours. I probably have a couple extra beers, but it's not as fun. So we're on the same side here. We want the same thing to happen, just maybe we approach it from different sides. So, all right, I've had the 561 area code on hold for quite a while. Who am I talking to?
Hey, Gabe, this is Jeff from South Florida again.
What's up, Jeff? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. It's days like this where I really miss being there at Faroe Field. Watching on TV is great, but that had to be fantastic for the people there.
Yeah, not very many of them there, but yeah.
Right. The thing that I'm most encouraged about, when you have a new coach that breathes life into a program like Drink has done, it usually looks like what Lane Kiffin has done at Ole Miss, or what Pittman has done at Arkansas, or maybe what Stoops did at Kentucky his first year or two. You look at it and you say, wow, this is a big improvement. They look so much more competitive. They look so much better. But they lose all these close games, They don't get the payoff right away. And I think what's so fantastic about watching this year is that we survived the chest kicker in the end zone today,
right.
And we figure out a way to win that game. And it just seems like these guys have bought into Drink so quickly.
Yeah.
You can't help but think, when he gets his players and he gets his system completely installed, it's going to even be better. And that's what I'm encouraged about.
Totally agree. So I tweeted out a stat last week that needs updating right now, and I'm going to do it right here. I believe the number is now that Eli Drinkwitz has coached in 8 games where the spread was single digits. You know what his record is in those games?
Pretty good.
8-0. Whether he's been
incredible.
A single-digit favorite or a single score, so within 7 points either way. Well, from a touchdown favorite to a touchdown underdog, he is now 8-0 as a head coach. It's a semi-small sample size, but it's a big enough sample size to make something of it. The guy, look, I am always hesitant to buy in on people, right? Because when the new coach comes in, fans just go overboard. It's everything he does is great. Everything the last guy did is wrong. He's amazing. I love him, blah, blah, blah. And that always makes me kind of push back a little bit. Look, guys, I don't have any ammo against you at this point. Everything the guy's done is right. However excited you are, you should absolutely be that excited about this guy being your head football coach.
The fourth quarter that he called today is one of the greatest play calling quarters I've ever seen. And the one that won't be talked about so much, that just, was a thing of beauty, down on the goal line when he had Bazelak take the snap under center the one time, and he had a lineman or an extra tight end hurry over to the left side to look like he was loading up heavy left, and then he sent one of the wideouts on the jet sweep in motion left, and then That kind of a play is really advanced.
Yeah,
and had everybody and their brother thinking, this is going left, this is going left.
Yeah. There are 3 or 4 plays a game that I look at and I just say, just as a football person, that's fun to watch, right? I like the design. He's run more flea flickers this season than I think I've seen in my first 16 years of covering Missouri. So it's fun to watch, man. I definitely agree.
Well, listen, come one, come all to Florida. Our governor says there's no problems down here. Just get everybody sick. Come to the Outback Bowl or the Gator Bowl. Come to Florida, everybody. We'll see you New Year's or right after.
All right, Jeff. I think that's where they're ending up, man. So we'll see you in one of those bowl games. Appreciate the call. We're going to jump back to the state of Missouri in the 636 area code. Who am I talking to?
Hey, what's up, Gabe? This is Skip in Eureka. How's it going, man?
What's up, Skip? How you doing, man?
No, I couldn't be much happier than that. Huge win today, and I just kind of a little off topic, but I want to talk about like some underappreciated guys that are stepping up. There's so many on this roster.
Mm-hmm.
You look at Dom Smith finally getting back in the game. Canyon York didn't have a huge game today, but even like Messiah Swinson, who when he came onto campus, everyone was saying he's going to be great.
Right.
Toward his ACL, hasn't done anything since. He's been going on the field as a blocker, red zone. Just so many guys stepping up. I mean, it's been great to watch.
I think that's actually, if I can kind of interject here, I think that's one, I don't want to say advantage of this season, but it's one thing that's come out of this season that probably wouldn't come out of a normal season is guys like that, they're playing because there's no other choice, right? I mean, Messiah Swinson has to be on the field, but that's giving Messiah Swinson a chance to prove to a new coach, hey, you know what, Coach? I can do some things to help you. Jamal Brooks was out there today. Chad Bailey was out there today because a guy got kicked out, and then Brooks replaced Bailey and all that. Ennis Rakestraw's out there because he's good enough, but he's also a true freshman. You're throwing Jalen Carlise out there as a true freshman, and these guys are showing, hey, I can do this. Like, not without bumps in the road maybe, but I think you're finding guys on rosters that you wouldn't find during a normal season because coaches are having to give other guys, like Luke Griffin is maybe the best example. Left guard, third string left guard, like had no chance of playing at the beginning of the season. Has had to play because of all the COVID issues and injury issues. And guess what? We found out Luke Griffin might be pretty good at football. So I think they're finding guys that they wouldn't have found in a normal season.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Luke, you look at Ennis Rakestraw playing. I mean, I saw whenever you guys were covering the Isaac Thompson commitment, he mentioned freshmen playing. And I think it's such a huge thing for recruits. Hopefully we get a couple more in this next 4 weeks. But, I mean, you really hopefully get some momentum. And you actually be able to tell freshman guys, you can play here if you come here as a freshman, which is really big.
And, I've tried to tell people for so many years, like Pinkel built his program a certain way, right, which was you didn't really play as a freshman. I mean, 3 or 4 guys. Maybe if you were a superstar, you did. But if you look at the best teams in America, they play the most freshmen. And the reason is they get guys that are ready to play as freshmen. Now, hey, sometimes you've got a guy that he's just simply not good enough. You got to redshirt him and he becomes a guy. But most of it, Pinkel told us one time, his approach was you're going to get 3 good years out of a guy. Whether that's true freshman, maybe the true freshman year is kind of a warm-up and then you get 2 really good years and then he goes pro, or whether it's you redshirt for a year and then you get 2 good years after that. But you count on every guy for 3 years. So guys that had to redshirt, largely, they're probably taking another year to get ready. So it's kind of you look at it and say, you think the programs with less talent should play more true freshmen. It's actually the other way around.
Yeah, and one quick question, totally kind of a random one, but I know Cannon got put on scholarship this past week. You think on the other walk-ons, I mean, Dom Smith, you got to say he's earned a scholarship this year. Anybody else you can come to mind that you think's earned a scholarship? And I'll hang up. Thanks again, Gabe, for doing this. Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate the call. I think Dom Smith probably gets one. Off the top of my head, I can't think of another walk-on who is necessarily going to get one, but I may be blocking somebody out. I think York and Dom Smith will probably be the guys. Now, look, if they just have an extra one for a senior walk-on next year, that's a thing that'll probably happen. But you've got to be careful. Like, he's trying to get this program back to 85 scholarship players. He's going to take some transfers, all that. So you've got to be careful giving it to a guy that, yeah, it's a good story and he's worked his way in, but is there maybe somewhere else you could use it? So nobody else comes to mind besides Smith and York. And I had 314 on hold for just a second. I was just about to go to you. If you call back, I will, I promise. So we're catching up on some of the comments here, guys. I'm doing my best. It has been, as I anticipated, kind of a crazy post-game show. I mean, after that game, we kind of knew that everybody was going to be pretty hyped up and wanting to talk about it. We've still got a couple hundred of you on here. Much appreciate that. I need to interject while I have a second. It's been almost an hour and a half already, and haven't done this since the beginning. So I do appreciate one of our callers saying that Boulevard Brewing Company is the place that look, that's all you got to drink. Right, I'm drinking it right now. I'm drinking a Tank 7. They do a lot of stuff with us. They've been a sponsor of ours for the last couple of years. I said during the pregame show today, we really make an effort only to work with sponsors that we actually like. Is a product we like. It's a company we support. Boulevard Brewing Company. I grew up a Kansas City guy. Boulevard started when I was about 13. I waited many years to try it, but once I did, I never really wanted to try something else. Burger Smokehouse from our pregame show. Brandon Barnes, former Mizzou football player, helping us out. So all of our sponsors are companies and products that we use. And Boulevard, look, we use it, man. Tank 7, I'm using it right now. So we're going to jump back to the phone line, 206 area code. Who am I talking to?
Hey, this is P. Duff. Can you hear me okay?
I can, P. Duff. What's going on, man?
Nice. Good day. I have been sober all day. I refused to comment throughout the game. I was like, this is going to backfire. So it's beautiful. It's beautiful here. I'm taking my dog for a run and just enjoying the show, listening to everything. And I really appreciate everything you guys are doing, and such a fun, exciting time to be a Tiger. I wish I could be in Como or in the Midwest enjoying it with everybody. But I've got just a random question about sort of the scholarship numbers. Yep. Theoretically, could there be a graduating class in like 4 or 5 years of like 50 players? Is that how this is going to work?
I almost hesitate to answer this question because the truth is nobody knows how the hell it's going to work because the NCAA hasn't really ruled what they're going to do with scholarship limits and all kinds of things. Theoretically, yes. I don't think that's out of the question. But also, I have a hard time seeing the NCAA just saying scholarship limits are abandoned because I don't know how many schools can afford that. Right? How many schools can go to 110 scholarship players or 98 scholarship players or whatever it would take in a time where they're all hemorrhaging money because nobody can go to games? And I'm really not trying to dodge your question, but there's so many unknowns out there about what they're going to do with all this, with this year not counting. I mean, again, Harrison Mevis could be a freshman again next year. Right, Connor Bazelak could be a freshman again next year. He could start 6 games in his career against Arkansas. That's how messed up this is.
Crazy.
And so, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Also, I just want to say one other thing real quick as both a longtime Chiefs fan and a longtime Tiger fan. Last year, and I know we're not there this year with the Tigers, but last year as we went through the playoffs and kept making comeback after comeback with the Chiefs, I was just like, man, there are just so many like bad, old ways falling away. And this year, through, 8 games so far?
Yep.
Drinkwitz has put to rest so many bad things. Like somebody said the chest kicker. Oh my God.
Yep.
That's so beautiful. Yeah. So just want to say, I think it is truly a new zoo. And I'll get off and listen to the rest of the callers.
Yeah, no, Pete Duff, I appreciate it. It's absolutely and look, you mentioned the Chiefs, and at some point, I guess it was probably after the Super Bowl, I just hit a point. I said, I'm never going to assume this team is going to lose again, right? And we're not, like you said, you're not there with Missouri. But there's reasons to start saying things like, I've got my cup on and the backup quarterback's going to beat us. And, there's reasons to hope. And that's what this fan base needed. You needed hope. You needed energy. You needed excitement. You've got that. We're going to jump to the 417 area code. Who am I talking to? Oh, he just hung up on me, man. We were almost there. We were just seconds away. I tell you what we're going to do right now, folks. We've still got 183 people online, so we're not going to end this show. But I've had almost 2 full tank 7s. I need like a 2-minute break. So we're going to go on a 2-minute break. We'll be right back. All right, guys, we're back. I would guess that wasn't even 2 minutes. We only lost 2 people during the break. We're at 181 still. Much appreciated for you guys hanging out with us. So, hey, we're getting a call. Fantastic. Here we go. All right, 636. Who am I talking to? 636 area code. Who am I talking to?
What's up, Gabe? It's Josh.
What's up, Josh? How you doing, man?
Pretty good. So today, I think everyone can admit it wasn't the defense's best game. And
Not
Ryan
the best,
Walters,
no.
I feel like, has taken a lot of criticism from the fans recently. I feel like it's a lot of, Ryan Walters is doing really good. Oh, now he should be fired. I feel like I've seen a lot of that. I don't know if you have. I've seen it on the board a lot.
That's my life. Yeah.
Yeah. But honestly, I feel like this year, we talked about it before the season. Mizzou's D-line, kind of a weak spot.
Yep.
He doesn't have a ton to work with. And then you look at what they lost last year: Jordan Elliott, Cale Garrett, DeMarcus Acey, Ronnie Perkins.
Right.
My bad. I don't always get them mixed up.
No, Ronell was the one at Missouri. Ronnie's the one at Oklahoma.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, I always get them mixed up. But, he just lost a lot. And I feel like, today wasn't one of their best games. But you know what? They showed up when they needed to, got the stops when they needed to, even, despite Jamal Brooks' little mishap in the end zone. But, I kind of wanted to say that.
So can I tell you
more...
what the Ryan Walters blame is about, Josh? Because I know it, and it is. And people are going to be unhappy with it, but it's true.
Mm-hmm.
So when Barry Odom was the head coach, who, they had 3 years of proof. He probably wasn't ever going to be great here, right? They knew that. They didn't really like Barry. It was easy then to blame Barry Odom for the defense. He's the head coach. He's a defensive guy. I'm blaming him, right? Well, Drinkwitz comes in, and he's an offensive guy, but also he's the new guy, and they love him. And again, I'm not saying you shouldn't. You should love this guy. He's done a fantastic job. But now he's the head coach, and the defense is struggling, but we want to find a way to not blame him for that. So we're going to blame the coordinator for it now, even though last year we blamed the head coach for it. And that's a part of it.
Yeah.
It just is, And again, like you said, today wasn't Ryan's best day. It wasn't the defense's best day. But when they had to, in the second half, they got 3 stops in 4 drives to allow Missouri to come back from a 14-point deficit. So they did some things to there's not one person on that roster who didn't contribute to this win in some way.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. And then just one more thing I wanted to say is, we compare Odom and Drink a lot, but what better week to do it than Odom week? So I'm going to bring him up. I feel like, when that game was 40-26, I feel like that's a game under the Odom regime that the team just kind of rolls over and that's it. But I was just really impressed with the way Drinkwitz was able to rally the guys, losing the best player of the defense. And I mean, you've mentioned it too. I mean, casual fans don't realize Nick Bolton is like the Patrick Mahomes of our defense. Like, he is the glue that holds it together, and they won without him. And I mean, they 50-balled Barry Odom's defense, and you could argue there was 3 or 4 drives that they left a touchdown on the field.
100% agree. Missouri doesn't win that game with Odom as head coach. And let me also say this. Arkansas deserves that same credit. They were down 13-0 out the gates, and Sam Pittman got them back. So everything Missouri fans think about Eli Drinkwitz, Arkansas fans should think about Sam Pittman. And I think that's really good for the future of this matchup and the future of both teams. Both teams had times they could have mailed it in today, and neither one did, and I think that's a credit to the guys on the sidelines.
Yep, for sure. I totally agree. Thanks for taking my call, Gabe.
All right, Josh, appreciate the call, man. We're going to jump back to the 301 area code. Who am I talking with?
Hey, Gabe, it's Jacob. I just want to say that I think Colorado thinks that Ryan Walters is a pretty good defensive coordinator, and I'm sure some other universities will too when they offer him a head coaching position. But that being said, Barry Odom teams rolling over is what I want to talk about, because that's what happens when they play Georgia. And it's been since 2014 when we went between the hedges that I felt any hope in a game against the Bulldogs. Can you provide me any insight? Can you tell me if I am crazy? Thank you.
Well, I'll provide you some hope in that Missouri has something to play for and they care right now. I don't know if Georgia does. I do want to point out, like, I'm going to go, like, what's the word I'm looking for here? Devil's advocate real quick with you. And then I agree with you overall. I really do. But I'm going to go devil's advocate real quick. Barry Odom's second game of his head coaching career was against Georgia in 2016. Missouri led most of the night. They had a 27-21 lead. Georgia was facing 4th and goal from the 20. Drew Lock had thrown for like 350 yards. Jacob Eason had thrown for like 320. I actually told someone at halftime of the game, we're seeing the future of the SEC East right here in these two quarterbacks, so that was kind of stupid. But anyway, Georgia facing 4th and goal from the 20. Missouri called a defense. One of the players didn't run that defense. He ran the wrong one. Georgia throws a touchdown pass to Isaiah McKenzie, wins the game 28-27. So as far as hope against Georgia, like, you had a lot of hope that night. And I've often said, I wonder how different his career is if he gets that win. Because I said, after the LSU win this year, I said, all you need in year one is proof of hope, proof that what I'm doing is going to work sometime. Eli Drinkwitz got that against LSU. Barry Odom was a second from that, a play from that, a fumble on the ensuing possession from that against Georgia. And he didn't get it. And so he doesn't deserve credit for getting it. I want to make that clear. But he almost got it. And if he had gotten it, I wonder what it changes. Eli Drinkwitz got that this year. And then what he turned that into is beating Kentucky, and then beating South Carolina, and then today against Arkansas. So you don't just have 1 point of proof. You have 4 points of proof. But hope against Georgia, I'm not going to pick Missouri to win a game, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a 8 or 9 point spread. Missouri's won 5 out of 6. They're playing really well. Georgia's done. They're out of the SEC title game. They have nothing to play for anymore. It's not impossible that Missouri wins that game next weekend. So I'm not sure if you're still on line with me, Jacob, but just if you are, kind of thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm here, and I just want to say that I think you're absolutely right about Odom. I think the fact that he had to wait until he went to Florida's homecoming to get that victory.
In year 3.
He got that in his second year. In year 3 even. I thought it was year 2. It felt so long overdue that it was bittersweet, and it couldn't have been appreciated for what it was. So I think Eli getting all of these victories early on is just so consequential to now new practice facilities pop up on campus. Look at how that happened. Now all of a sudden wallets are opening up across Columbia and St. Louis and Kansas City. And isn't that exciting when that happens?
Yep.
So, I think there's a ton of momentum. And I think what it is going to be against Georgia is, just a respectable game. I expect us to be competing into the fourth quarter. And that's all you can ask for. And this team, all the way up until that second point conversion, I didn't have any problems with how they played and the effort they left on the field.
Yep.
So, from here on out, let's go. Let's have some fun.
100% agree. And like, look, again, you guys should be every bit as excited as you are. There are a lot of things to be very excited about with this coach, with this program. And I've said this so many times this year. Here's what Missouri fans needed. And here's what Missouri fans haven't had for 6 years. Hope, excitement, energy. That's what you needed. 2015 was, so rough. And Jacob, I appreciate it, man. I'm going to let you go and make sure I free up the line. But thanks so much for the call. And I'm kind of going to just freestyle off your point here for a minute. So appreciate the chance to do that. 2015 was, you had a quarterback with, let's just leave it at issues, right? An offense that we actually, I will tell you guys, in the press box, we were disappointed when Missouri scored a touchdown for the first time in 52 offensive drives, because it was literally the only thing we had to talk about. It was like, well, okay, that streak's over. What do we do now? And then November 2015 happened, and then Gary retired, and they're just, 2016 they were 4-8, and then 17 it got a little better. They started 1-5 and then won 6 straight games and crapped away a bowl game and all that, but they didn't beat anybody any good. 2018 was kind of the pinnacle. It was 8-4. That was all right. Lost another bowl game in a game they probably should have beaten or should have won. 2019 was 6-6. It was fine. It was there. But it's been so long since you guys have had something to latch on to say, this is my program. I have hope. I think they can be better than middle of the pack. I think, there's something to love here. There's something to get behind. It's been so long since you guys have had that, really in both programs, but this is just football right now. So you have that now, and you have this guy who he gets it. He gets the PR. He gets the press conferences. Oh, by the way, he's backing it up on the field. They're doing things you haven't seen. And so, again, like I told a caller earlier, I tend to kind of almost root for what fans don't root for, right? Because this is what you guys can't understand. Again, we see things, we want the same result, we just see them a different way. And when a new coach comes in, it is everything he does is great and everything the last guy did sucked and all that. And so it just is a natural tendency when you read that every day, when you hear that every day, to kind of react like, settle down a little bit, right? Chill out. This guy isn't Jesus. He didn't walk on water to take this job. And I don't think Eli walked on water to take this job. And I want to be clear when I say I don't believe Eli is Jesus. But I do actually start to now think that as optimistic as you guys are about him is justified. He is proving that by the team he's putting on the field, by the results in year one. And I'm not going to say there won't be any bumps in the road. Next year might be a step back. It might take him a little while to get things going. After this, he might not win the SEC East in his first 2 seasons, whatever. But you guys should be every bit as excited as you are about where this thing is going. It's absolutely justified the way you guys are feeling. We're going to go back to the phone lines, the 573. Who am I talking with?
Hey, Gabe, it's Brad. How you doing?
What's up, Brad? How are you, man?
I'm doing great, but I was at the game today. Man, that was so fun. There's a lot of Arkansas fans there today.
I noticed that over in a corner. Was it? Do you think it was just like what was the dynamic there? How'd that happen?
I don't know. I had a free ticket and I put it out on the board last night. Like 5 Arkansas fans that immediately hit me up. It was crazy, but there was just. I think the Arkansas fans are very excited about Pittman, what they're doing there.
Hopefully that means a lot of Arkansas fans pay me money to subscribe to our site every year, every month. I'm cool with that.
I hope so. Hey, a couple things. Brady Cook came into the game, and my immediate thought was they're going to run the ball, and they didn't, and that, obviously that play didn't go well. I don't blame Brady at all, but I wonder, is that because the play call was for a pass, or do you think, they were that was, he came into the game and they decided to do that, and the second, and you're going to hate me for this, but
you're going to have to extend Drinkwitz, aren't you?
So the line between good and great is very blurred, and it's very, but I work in the corporate world, and there's many times people come through my world, and I'm like, oh my God, you can see where this person's overly talented. Yes, we keep winning these games that we haven't won in the past. I'm going to ask you again, Gabe, and you keep lecturing me, but at some point, do we need to back up the Brinks truck and let this guy get,
So I want to have a real serious discussion about this. He is guaranteed right now, like unless he, breaks the law or NCAA rules tomorrow, he is guaranteed 5 more years for $20 million. So, like, what job is out there that's going to pay Eli Drinkwitz more than that over the next 5 years right now?
So, Gabe, let me ask you this. So Gus Malzahn is always on the hot seat, right?
Right.
And Auburn is a good job, but, I mean, if you're like a really hot coach, do you want to take that job knowing you have to compete with Alabama?
I actually have some insight here. Jay Tate, who runs our Auburn site, is one of my best friends in this network. I've talked to him about this very subject. He has told me there is a 0% chance if they fire Gus Malzahn that they're hiring a guy who worked under Gus Malzahn. Auburn's not hiring Eli Drinkwitz.
Okay.
So we can get that one out of the way.
I know you get frustrated with me asking this, but
I'm good with it.
Really
it's an actual discussion worth having.
No, I really feel like we stumbled upon a guy that is just special. It's like these kind of games. In the stance today, Gabe, I really felt like most of us felt like, hey, we're going to win this. I don't know why. It was stupid, but it just felt like we were going to win this game, and we did. And it was like, holy cow, why?
Okay, so
like this is not a talented team. We have a lot of holes. We all know it, right?
Right.
And
let me make a counter argument to the extension thing. Is the curators coming through talking about an indoor practice facility, maybe a message to Drinkwitz? Look, man, we're not going to give you an extension 1 year into a 6-year contract, but we believe in you and we're going to buy into you. We're in the middle of a pandemic and we have no money and we're going to build you a new practice building. That's a message of support there.
And I'm sure it is. It's probably a great thing. But, me and you, we're not dumb. You can build me a new garage, but if you give me more money, I'm more than happy to take that. That's what I want to see.
All right, I'll make you a deal, Brad. If he beats Georgia next weekend, call me and we'll have another extension conversation.
Oh, don't you worry. Hey, answer the Brady Cook question, or somebody can. I just want to know how that works, though. Was the play call already in, so we just executed that, or was that a play for Cook? I know that's kind of hard to answer, but that's interesting to me.
Right. I can't say for sure. My guess is it was what they planned to do, but it could have been changed if they wanted to change it, right? But, sure. I mean, look, I mean, Brady Cook, up to that point in his career, had been a perfect quarterback. He was 4 for 4 for 62 yards and a touchdown. Why would you not throw with that dude? I mean, he'd never messed up, and I'm kind of joking, but, like, I think it's probably somewhere in between. It was probably the play they planned to run, and I don't remember the exact down and distance situation, but he could change it if he wanted to, right? Like, I asked him earlier in the year about scripting plays, and I think he said they script like the first, I forget if it was 10 or 15. But no coach scripts the first 15 plays and refuses to change it, right? You have your script, but if your first 2 plays lose 27 yards and you're in 3rd and 37, you're not calling play number 3 just because it was play number 3. You can kind of deviate from that. So I would think it's the same way with the situation you're describing. Probably they had a play that they wanted to run, but if they thought, hey, Brady Cook can't do this, we're going to change the call, they could have changed it.
I thought so. It was interesting to me. I always wonder how that works. I never played football, so just it seemed
Same.
interesting. I was just like, we'll just hand it to Roundtree and let's see how baseball does,
Yep. All right. Well, Brad, appreciate the call, man. I got another one coming in, so I'm going to let you go and answer that one. But thanks so much, and I'll expect that call if they beat Georgia next weekend. Back to the 573 area code. Who am I talking to? 573. You on the line?
Gabe, how you doing tonight?
Not bad. Who am I talking to?
This is Nick.
What's up, Nick?
Oh, I'm doing good. Gabe, I just have to ask you, do you think that Arkansas messed up by not calling more run plays in the second half? Because their run game was working for them.
Yes. I don't know, Nick, if you were on our, in-game chat, but, I was legitimately getting angry at Arkansas for for passing on first down. I said at one point, I think sometimes football coaches see things that are working, and then they say, well, I know this is working, but I wonder if maybe we could also get this other thing to work. There was up 40-26. There was legitimately no reason for Arkansas to throw a pass the rest of the day. I don't know what the hell they were doing, if we're being honest.
Oh, absolutely, I agree. I mean, Kendall Browse got a little too cute there.
Yeah.
I mean, the run game was working. They were getting 5 yards easily every run, and then they decided to throw every down.
It was the last time I looked, they were averaging 6.4 yards a carry. And then they just decided, hey, maybe 1st and 10 and 2nd and 10, we should throw the ball, and I don't get it.
Exactly. I mean, they just beat themselves today.
Yeah, and Missouri deserves credit, but, so often we acknowledge our team's faults and never look at the other team, but sometimes football coaches they make me angry, man. They try to get too smart for themselves. And, if you can hand the ball off and get 6.4 yards a carry, just keep doing that, man. It's going to work. You're going to score every time. Why aren't you doing it?
I understand. I mean, I'm not mad that they stopped, but
right. I got you.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate the call, Nick. Thanks, man. And we just had a call coming in, and I don't know. I tried to answer it, and it hung up. So if it was you, please call back. And, again, I told you guys when we started this, I'm going to hang out here with you guys till you're done, right? It's 5:30. We started at 9:15 this morning. We're going on 8.5 hours. I'm good. All I got to do at some point, I got to eat, I got to walk the dog, and I got to write a little bit. I'll probably have another beer when I do that. So I'm here till you guys want to not be here anymore. We've still got 175 people online. This has been phenomenal participation, phenomenal energy around this program. And again, I want to say, we see it from different viewpoints, but it's good for all of us. This is good for me. I want a team that wins games. It's fun to cover. It's good for us. It's good for you guys. It's good for everybody involved. So the more calls we get, the more participation we get, the happier we all are, right? I could drink another Tank 7, except it's all the way downstairs, and I can't go get it right now. So I'm not going to do that till later on when I sit down to write some post-game stuff. I'm sure Mitchell Forty is over in the press box, working his ass off trying to figure out what to write about this, and angry that I'm not helping him out. But, hey, I told him it was going to take 3 hours. That's the way it goes. We're going to the 314 area code. Who am I talking to?
Hey, this is Tyler here. How are you?
What's up, Tyler? How you doing, man?
Good. First off, just love the show. Great job with everything.
Appreciate
I got two kind of quick things. One, a lot of talk about kind of hope and, the Missouri fans have been looking for it.
Yep.
I think the biggest thing we've seen over really the last couple weeks with the drink program is momentum of hope also. It's not that we never had hope under Odom. I don't want to say that.
But, man, when you had hope, he yanked it out in a hurry.
Exactly. Now, we get a big recruit with him, and then you'd lose a game, right? Get Kelly Bryant, lose the game in Wyoming or something, or you'd lose the game and not get the, just kind of not stringing together. And so that's, I think, the benefit with Drake. The other thing on the game, just kind of big picture, I want to get your thoughts. I thought if you kind of take a one-sentence look at South Carolina, seemed to me Nick Bolton was the best player on the field, and we won that. Yeah. Vanderbilt, Larry Roundtree was the best player on the field.
Yep.
Today, I think Connor Bazelak was the best player on the field at the end of it and pulling it out. And this was kind of his game. I know he didn't score any touchdowns, and maybe it, needs some pop out. But just being that cool, calm guy, and especially in the fourth quarter, game tying drives, then game-winning drives. To me, this was the Connor Bazelak game that I remember as, hey, I can be the best player on the field.
I think you're probably right. Can I make a suggestion? What if Harrison Mevis was the best player on the field?
It's tough to give that to a kicker. It's great. He's got ice in his veins, too.
That's my point. He's a kicker, but damn, dude was 5 for 5.
He is a stud. No doubt about it. I mean, both of them, just ice in the veins. So
100% agree, man. Appreciate the call. Thanks so much. Gonna move on. Still in the 314 area code. Who are we talking to?
Thanks for signing up for CatFacts.
CatFacts. God, I missed you. It took almost 2 hours.
With a fun fact about cats.
We listened to the CatFacts last week. We're going to listen again.
Cancel the subscription, then cancel. Cats bury their feces to cover their trails from predators.
All right, now I'm
That's
pissed off. That's the same cat fact we had last week. That's no good. You need a new cat fact if you're going to call in every week. 417 area code. Who are we talking to?
Hey, Gabe. It's Stuart in Ozark.
What's up, Stuart? How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I tried calling earlier, but I had to hang up. I'm still at work, and my boss walked in, so I'm going to sneak this one in. Man, what a great game to watch. You know, a lot to digest, but starting with the backup quarterback, I thought we were going to get Connor Shaw.
Right.
And the KJ guy, man, he played really well.
He played a great game. Like, sometimes you got to tip your cap and say the dude played well. He played really well.
He really did. And one of the great things about that game is so many adjustments by both coaches. I mean, Pittman, I was laughing when Arkansas got Pittman, but the guy can coach, obviously.
Yeah.
But it seemed like Drink was just, ahead of him on a couple of them. And, like you had said, our defense got a couple of stops in the second half, and that was the difference, obviously, So tip your cap to our guys as well. I mean, just a really fun game. And then I thought, the 2-point conversion, you're just like, you got to be kidding me,
Right.
Here we are again.
And you know what? The only saving grace about that was it was in the south end zone. Nobody could bring up the north end zone crap because it was in the other end zone.
Exactly. I was trying to think back, and I remember the highlights, so I knew we were in a different end zone.
Yep.
And obviously in a different time. And
right.
Somebody had mentioned it. It was a minute 20 left in the game, 3 timeouts, and I'm thinking this is no big deal. We're going to go down and score. And then I remembered it was Saturday and not Sunday, and Patrick got back there. It's like, Connor can, he calm ice, man. Ran it on down there and took care of business. It was fun game to watch.
No question. And this is how I judge a football game, right? If you just, and I know this is really hard for you guys to do because you're diehard fans, you're invested in this. But I look at a game and say, if I just didn't care who won, what do I think about that game? That was fun as hell today. If you just don't care who won and you just watch that game, you're glued to the TV if you don't care if Missouri or Arkansas wins.
Exactly. I mean, my heart, I invested, obviously. My heart was pumping. I was just, obviously it came out the way we wanted it to, but.
Right.
And I would have been disappointed to lose, obviously, but still not a bad way to spend 3.5 hours online streaming a game.
Definitely. Well, Stuart, appreciate the call, man. I tell you what, I'm going to let you go because, I don't want your boss to walk back in, but thanks so much for being a part of it.
Yeah, be good, JP.
All right, we're going to go to the 281 area code now. Who am I talking with?
It's Doc Waymer from Sugarland.
What's up, Doc? How are you, man? What's going on?
Hey, man, this was amazing. Special teams won the game. 2 missed extra points.
Special teams lost the game, right?
They lost it for Arkansas.
Lost it for
Arkansas. Won it for us.
But and Chris Turner does deserve credit for the block. You're right. And you know what? So here's Ralph, and here's the thing, man, that I was trying to tell people kind of at the beginning of the show. When you're when your job is to write about this game, you're in the press box, and you've forgotten things that happened so early. By the end of that game, I honestly forgot that Arkansas had missed 2 extra points. Like, I forgot they should have actually been ahead by 3 points at the time when Missouri was driving for the game-winning field goal, because it happened so long ago. But that's a great point. I mean, the kicking game, man. And by the way, Missouri has a kicker.
Man, you're telling. But I text my brother-in-law. He lives up in Florissant, and we text it back and forth during the game. And I said, "Damn, we're getting 3 and they're getting 6." And I'm thinking, there's no way we're going to win.
Right. Yeah, it was. I mean, look, I generally pride myself on not making declarative statements, but at 40-26, I declared that game over. I mean, because I didn't think the Missouri defense was going to get a stop the rest of the day. I thought it was done. So, but
I'm going, damn, I can't believe it. This is great.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. Really, really fun game, and obviously more fun because it turned out the way that you wanted it to turn out, right?
Yep. Well, sure good talking to you, Gabe.
Yeah, Doc, great to hear from you, man. So glad, and hey, man, I'm glad to know that you're young enough to participate in the online post-game call-in show. It's good to hear from you.
Yep.
All right, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one. Doc Wamers, he's one of the best. Truly, one of the great guys I've gotten to know and meet through this site, and like it's what the beauty of this is. Like, it's a job and all that, but like I've gotten to meet a lot of really good people. And Doc Waymer, I haven't talked to him for a long time. Great to hear from him. Coming back to the 573 area code, who we got on the line?
Oh, hey, Gabe, it's Brad again. I just have one quick question for you.
Yep.
We're in the Chiefs' golden age, right? We're pretty much the same age, and we've been through the same experiences. But if you had to, like, raise your hands and say, "Woo Pig Suey," would you still cheer for the Chiefs? Because I saw that today for the first time. I was like, holy shit.
Wait, what do you mean?
They're the Arkansas.
If I had to do that to be a Chiefs fan?
I've never seen it in my life. And it's like, could you do that as a fan of any sport, of any team?
I'm not 100%. I could do it as a grown-up. It's a little creepy, I will fully admit, to see in person. I think I've been around it so much now that it like I'm almost inoculated, right? Like it doesn't even seem weird to me anymore because I've seen it so many times. But it's
okay.
It's a little bit scary
because I'm like it's horrible. I'm like I saw it today. I'm like, what are you all doing? These were adults. So,
but be for real. You'd rather see that than waving the wheat.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Brad. Good to hear from you, man. Appreciate it.
Safe.
All right, so I'm gonna do my best to catch up with some comments here. I mean, we've been rolling for a little over 2 hours. And again, we'll hang out here if you guys want to keep hanging out here. We will certainly do that. Let me see. Go through some of the comments. KJ at the time I thought was a huge miss. Yeah, I had forgotten that Missouri recruited KJ Jefferson. I don't remember the circumstances. I don't remember a lot about it, but I do know that Missouri did recruit him at one point. And man, I got to give a shout out to guys like Justin Ferguson and Patrick Aarons and Davin Harms. So I got to go. Davin was legitimately the first guy to comment on our pregame show this morning. He's still hanging out with us here. We've been going 8.5 hours, guys, and Davin's still here. Justin Ferguson's still here. Patrick Aarons is still here. And that's not to like say that I don't appreciate all of the 164 people that have been hanging out with us for 2 hours. I think we peaked at about 260. It's still a lot of you hanging out, and greatly appreciate all of you. But the guys who have been here for 8.5 hours doing game day with us, like you're the reason we're doing this. We're going to keep doing this if we can. We're going to jump back, and I think this might be a new area code, 720. Who are we talking to?
Hey, Gabe, this is JT. How you doing?
JT, what's going on, man? How are you?
Doing good. Enjoyed the game. And as I was sitting here watching it and thinking about the year and where we are with Drink, it occurred to me that, he wasn't the first choice to be hired.
Right.
And I was trying to think back, who was on that first list that they put forward, and where are they today? Can you give a quick synopsis on that?
Yeah, there were 3. And, look, there has been debate. I know people at Missouri have kind of fought back against Dave Matter and I on this. And Vahe Gregorian reported the same thing. And I want to point out first, but just say, there have been times in my career I was wrong. There have been times in Dave's career he was wrong. There have been times in Vahe's career he was wrong. I doubt there's ever been a time we all 3 had the same information and we were all wrong. So I feel pretty good about what we said. I know the 3 at that time. Blake Anderson, who's the Arkansas State head coach. I don't know if Arkansas State's any good this year or not. But he was one of the 3 finalists and the guy who was kind of viewed as probably the favorite. Jeff Monken, who was the Army head coach, and there was a 3rd guy in there, and I hope somebody can comment in the chat and remind me who it was, because I'm going to be honest, it was a while ago. I just kind of forgot about it. I know it was Blake
Was
Anderson.
it a Louisiana State coach or something like that?
No, Billy Napier's the Louisiana coach. It wasn't him. I know it was Blake Anderson, Jeff Monken, and one more, it was kind of a similar profile guy, right? Might have been the Louisiana Tech coach, Dykes. No, Dykes is at SMU, but I don't know, it was some guy like that, just like he was a guy, right? He was okay, but he wasn't anybody that was going to get the fan base excited. Patrick says it was the Tulane head coach, Willie Fritz. That might have been the 3rd guy. But it was somebody like that. So the point is, it was 3 just kind of guys. Blake Anderson was considered to be kind of the leader in the clubhouse. At one point, it actually was reported by Arkansas State people that he was taking the job. And look, basically what happened is the board of curators said, this ain't good enough, man. Quit doing this. We didn't fire Barry to hire this guy. Go find somebody better. And so they went out, and who found him, I don't know, but they went out and found Eli Drinkwitz, and it cost them a little money in the long run, but obviously put the program in a much better situation. Because as I said when they hired Drinkwitz, if I'm going to hire a Sun Belt coach, I'd rather hire the guy that went 11-1 than the guy that went 7-5, like Blake Anderson did. So they hired the guy that went 11-1. He's doing all right. Skip Holtz.
Yeah,
that's who the 3rd guy was. Skip Holtz from Louisiana Tech.
Yeah. It's just amazing to me that that's what the AD thought was an acceptable list at that time. And I think we're at a point now when we can look back and say, my God, thank God somebody that intervened, because that would have been disastrous.
You're 100% right. Look, Blake Anderson might have done a fine job here, but he wouldn't have done what Eli Drinkwitz. Drinkwitz is a guy that, they've I'm not going to say they've hit a home run yet, but they got one that's headed toward the wall.
Okay, I'm gonna jump you and say, because I'm a fan and I can do this, they hit a home run, and if we hold on to him for 8 years, we're going to be in the college football playoff, maybe in the national title game. That's what I believe. That's what I believe in drinking.
Wow, JT, you just went from 2 to 10, man. Wait, but it's not impossible. I
believe in it.
I 100% understand why you guys are excited. You should be excited, and right now, today, nothing's off the table. That's where you should feel this program is, and again, I'm glad you guys get to experience this, man. It's been a minute.
Yeah, and that's why we're all calling and worried about keeping him.
Right. We got to extend him, man. We're only guaranteeing him $20 million.
Well, what we're worried about is other people are going to see him have the same feeling, and it'll be other people at some place like Texas. But
here's my point. Eli Drinkwitz has 5 years and $20 million remaining. Let's say Texas fires Tom Herman and they decide Eli Drinkwitz is their guy. Is giving him a contract extension for another 2 years going to change his mind?
No, you have to pay him more too.
Right. And so you don't do that until you have to do it though. You don't just voluntarily say, okay, we're guaranteeing you 5 for 20, but here we're going to give you 10 for 100. Like, you know.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't say to give him a pay raise out of cycle until somebody offered him. I'm just saying that we got to be ready to. That's all I'm saying.
No, that's fair. That's fair. And I don't anticipate it happening this year because I don't think there are going to be enough jobs open. But I think after next year, if he continues this, yes, it could be a conversation that soon. And if it is, then you've got to address it. But I just don't think you have to address it yet.
Yeah, well, he's one of those guys that's truly ahead of the power curve, rising a lot faster than everybody around him, and therefore you have to treat him a little differently. That's my thought.
Fair enough, man. JT, appreciate the call, man. Good stuff.
Thanks. Bye.
All right, so that is JT. Appreciate, again, all you guys that have been a part of this for the better part of, 9 hours now, and if you want to keep going, we're going to keep going. Like I said, I'm rolling through some of the comments. Hey, Davin says, here's the weird thing, man. I know nothing about what's going on with college football. Apparently, Indiana beat Wisconsin, so maybe it'll be Mizzou, Indiana in the Outback Bowl. Who knows? We could see that. I think the way to get to a title game is to get top 25 classes consistently and drink as Andy Reid when it comes to play calling. It's possible. All right, we're going to jump back. 816. Who am I talking with?
Hey, Gabe. This is True Divinity.
What's up, True? How you doing, man? Appreciate it. Yeah, you've been on here all day. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so I see a lot of the talk, about Drinkwitz turning us into like a college football playoff contender, national championship contender. And the biggest reason, I wouldn't entertain that for a long time because, as has been discussed ad nauseum, this is a sport with very little parity, and it's usually the same schools going after it every year. And really the only way to change that is to recruit at a high level. And I think, with the Isaac Thompson news, and I think Sean dropped a nugget on the board, I won't divulge because you got to pay to get that information.
It's a top 10 quarterback in 2022. I can't remember his name offhand, but has Missouri as his leader.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, Sam Horn out of Georgia. That just has not happened at Missouri. We're seeing recruiting, and like you said, when he got hired, he landed some, in-state guys, and they were solid guys, but it wasn't really anything out of the norm for Missouri. And then now he's starting to, get those big, huge, big offer guys. Like Isaac Thompson had Michigan, Texas. I know Michigan's kind of out of sorts right now, but still, that's a huge coup. And I think, like you've said in the past, the only way you can get to that level is you have to recruit at that level first. So that's kind of the thing that's given me confidence over the last, however long he's been hired.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, Isaac Thompson doesn't come to Missouri in the previous 16 years I've been doing this.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got his 2021 class is tied for the highest ranked class Missouri's ever had. His 2022 class has a 4-star and a 3-star in-state to start. Again, I feel like I'm a broken record here, but there's literally nothing he's done that you could say, well, I wish he'd done that better. The recruiting is, I mean, it's at a level right now that we haven't seen. Now, you've got to stack those classes on top of each other, and to keep doing that, you've got to win. And even in the SEC, this school is not winning signing day. Right? I mean, it's not going to happen. But if you can get this school to, 7th in the league in recruiting rankings, then you're only going to play 2 of those teams ahead of you on a regular basis, and maybe you can beat them on the right day, and then you're in the league title game, and that's where you're at. I mean, that was the big difference between the Big 12 and the SEC. In the Big 12, the 2 juggernauts in the league were in the opposite division. There were some years you didn't play either one of them. So all you had to do was beat Nebraska and K-State on a regular basis, and then on the right day, you had to be better than Oklahoma or Texas. Now, Missouri never was, but it was a doable thing. You had to be better than that team for 60 minutes, not for 14 weeks. In the SEC, you've got 7 versions of Oklahoma and Texas. You've got Alabama, Auburn, LSU, A&M, Georgia, Florida, and realistically, Tennessee, when it comes to recruiting, that you're literally never beating in recruiting rankings. So, and 3 of them are in your division, so that's why it's so much tougher. But, Drinkwitz is giving you hope that, hey, he might have a path to get this thing done.
Yeah. And, I've seen, some people there's this one Mizzou account on Twitter that is just the most negative person I've ever seen in my life. People are celebrating, our recruiting class in 2021, and he goes, well, it's ninth in the SEC. And ninth in the SEC is a top 30 class nationally. The SEC is just a completely different beast when it comes to recruiting. So that's kind of the big thing that's given me confidence, because while he's doing a great job with the players he has now, if he can start to stack, top 30 classes regularly, because I know, like you pointed out when we were looking at Lane Kiffin, you thought he was a guy who could give you that level of class consistently. So if we can get that out of Drinkwitz, that could be absolutely massive for the program.
100%, man. Totally agree with you. And True, appreciate you being with us all day and appreciate the call. And again, Missouri fans, you should 100% be excited about it. There's no reason. If you're not excited about it, frankly, at this point, you just like to be pissed off, and that's cool.
Yeah, exactly.
If you like to be
Thanks,
pissed
Gabe,
off,
I appreciate it.
Appreciate it, True. If you like to be pissed off, you spend time on the internet, man. You probably subscribe to my site. That's cool. But no, you should 100% be excited about what's going on. So I don't know, guys. If there's more, there's more, and that's cool. But I kind of feel like we're nearing the 9-hour mark at this point. I've still got work to do. I got to write some things. I got to help out Mitchell Forty, who has been working his ass off since about 9:30 this morning. I kind of feel like we're at a point we can wind this down. Like I said, I appreciate you guys calling in and guiding this conversation, because I've still got to process this game. Wild game. One of the more entertaining games I've seen in a long time. But some of you were here with us for all 9 hours. Some of you jumped in and out, and it's great. Boulevard Brewing Company, we appreciate for sponsoring the post-game show. The pregame was I'm losing my mind here. Pregame was Burger Smokehouse. The in-game stuff, Colin Gentry Law Group. This has been a fun day, man. Great game. Lot to talk about. Lot to digest. And, all right, one last question. Stephen Elliott says, looking ahead, expectations moving forward for next year. Oh, man. I don't know. I don't even know the schedule next year, right? I don't know. The expectations every year, get to third in the SEC East and take your chances. I don't know. But, hey, guys, really do me a favor before signing off. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button to our channel if you haven't. Tell people what we're doing. This is built a little bit every week, and it helps that the team's playing well, and it's fun to watch and all that. But appreciate all you guys being here. Appreciate all our sponsors, everything like that. But do those couple things for me. Spread the word about what we're doing here every Saturday. Next Saturday is going to be nuts. Georgia, we don't know the time of the Georgia game. We believe it's going to be an 11 a.m. kickoff, which means I'm going to be online at 9:15 for the pregame show. We'll be with you throughout the game. We'll have some postgame bragging rights at 7 p.m. We don't really know how we're going to do this between Mitchell and I, covering both of them, being online for all of them. We're going to do the best we can, right? But we will be here with you for probably about 15 hours next Saturday, whether it's here on Power Mizzou, wherever it might be. We'll talk to you next Saturday, and we'll talk to you plenty before then, and still got more to do tonight. So thanks. We're going to wrap it up. Once again, Boulevard Brewing Company post-game drink here. All kinds of coverage coming your way at PowerMizzou.com.